later on.
This hour of the Vic Porcelli Show brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER roofing.com. Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so, he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Good morning, freedom fighters. Good morning, Kenny.
Morning, Vic Porcelli.
How you doing, baby?
I'm good, man.
Cold Friday, but hey, it's Friday, so I guess we're taking, right? Job report.
Did you say it's cold Friday?
What other kind of Friday would it be?
No, I think it's a lot. It seems a little warmer to me than yesterday. It was really bad yesterday.
No way. All right, Aaron Hedlund, chief economist at the Show Me Institute, is going to give us the rundown on the highly anticipated jobs report that came out earlier this morning. Larry Connors, Mr. Connors' Neighborhood at 9:25. We will get Larry's thoughts on something that happened. Tomorrow's the anniversary of a day that indeed still lives in infamy. And 9:41, Jay Ashcroft, Secretary of State. We got some questions for him. Susie Moore from Red State. And at 10:41, it's the Wheel of Audio Clips. Time for the pledge, Kenny Williams.
The Pledge of Allegiance, brought to you by our United States Air Force and Space Force.
Ken, who leads us today?
From way up north and from Red State. Guess who?
Ward Clark.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Over 200 careers to pick from in the U.S. Air Force and Space Force. Call Jeremy Jefferson in Baldwin now at 314-295-6834. 314-295-6834.
Ward Clark from Red State recorded that and then killed a couple of Chechnyan rebels, I think.
Right,
after
I think
that.
so.
God, he looks like the baddest of all badasses,
Yeah,
doesn't he?
yeah.
All right, so big anticipated jobs report came out earlier today. Aaron Hedlund, who is the chief economist at the Show Me Institute. Dr. Hedlund, good morning. How are you, buddy?
Good morning. Doing well.
So the jobs report before this one, when they missed by about 100,000 jobs, how is this one shaping up?
Yeah, this one certainly looks much better than the previous one. The previous one was very weak. This one came in at about 227,000 jobs, which is it's a respectable number. Unemployment changed relatively little. I would say it's a decent overall report, but there's always these kind of signs of weakness underneath the hood a little bit, like the fraction of the population that's employed a little bit lower. But we're turning the corner, and especially with good policies coming forward, I anticipate that jobs numbers should be getting better in 2025.
Yeah, absolutely. So you got me onto a couple of things there. First of all, their jobs numbers seem to come out and then they say, oh, sorry, we made a mistake. It wasn't that many. Remember the 818,000 jobs that they said were created, which were actually lost? I mean, how long do we wait to see if it needs to be retracted or changed?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, they only do those big revisions once a year. So it's going to take a while to see how 2024 actually played out compared to how it's seemingly played out over the past several months. But again, the narrative that the current White House has of taking credit for a strong economy it's a complete garbage rhetoric that they use. I mean, if you look at the past few years, the onslaught of inflation, hurting people's paychecks, red ink farther than the eye can see. It's not a good record, but you know what? The American people have spoken, and we're going to be getting very different policies soon.
Right. And on that note there, the new policies with the new, not so new President Trump coming in, his policies, I'm sure, will keep inflation down, and then that in turn can make the jobs numbers go up, right? I know that you just said a president is not responsible for it, but when he makes us energy, not just independent, but energy dominant again, then yeah, maybe more jobs, right?
Exactly. And that's been the key tension the past few years, is that the Fed has been the only entity trying to do anything on inflation. And frankly, they were late to the game, but they've stepped up, they've done a bit. And meanwhile, the administration has been doing everything to make inflation worse. More regulations, more spending, both goosing demand and holding back supply. And I think what you're going to see now is a major pivot towards supply, supply, supply. We are going to be energy dominant. We are going to be producing more along every dimension. Corporations more competitive, small businesses more competitive, workers more competitive. We're just going to be producing a lot more. And the more we produce, the more that helps on the price front.
And we're talking with Dr. Aaron Hedlund from the Show Me Institute. Dr. Hedlund, what is we talk about the Trump effect and how it's having an effect worldwide. And are you saying that the Trump effect is happening also in the economy and the jobs market?
So it'll probably take a little bit of time for the jobs market to immediately respond to the Trump effect. But I think you're seeing an uptick in business optimism and worker optimism and just overall optimism in the election. Because people know investing, I know with much greater certainty that taxes are not going to expire. Regulations are not going to get worse. So I mean, investment's one of those things you got to plan ahead of time. And frankly, hire workers.
All right, Dr. Aaron Hedlund, Chief Economist at the Show Me Institute. Always great to get the information from you, Dr. Hedlund, and we'll talk to you again soon, okay?
Look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
So I want to just do a couple roundup things here real quick. The Daniel Penny jury still has not come in with a verdict. And I know that, Susie Moore would be perfect to talk to you about this at 10:05. Usually when a jury goes and starts to deliberate, and then in an hour they come back with the verdict, it's not good for the defendant, right?
Yeah.
That's what they did with Sarah Boone, by the way. Remember Sarah Boone, the guy that locked her boyfriend in the suitcase and killed him?
Right.
Jury went out for an hour and came back guilty. Done. By the way, she was sentenced the other day, and she got life in prison, no parole.
Well, good.
So now that it's been 3 days, I mean, you don't know, Ken, what's going on there. But what could it possibly mean? One person holding out that wanted to convict, or one person holding out that wanted to acquit, right? Is it split down the middle? They asked the judge for more video, which I think that's a good thing for Daniel Penny, because if you watch the video, you see people thanking him, and that guy Neely was crazy and threatened to kill people.
And apparently they're saying that the guy wasn't dead, after he left. I mean, he got up and the guy was not dead at that point.
Great point. So how could it be murder, manslaughter, homicide, or anything?
See, and I don't want to throw around pardons like Joe Biden does, but Donald Trump might want to look at this and look at all the evidence, and maybe there could be a pardon in the future for this guy. If he gets railroaded like Donald Trump did in New York, then maybe he should look at that.
I think you're right. I don't know how that works.
I don't either.
I don't know if you have to,
or if it works. But
if you wait till the end of your term, I don't want Daniel Penny to wait 4 years.
I know,
to be exonerated. Yeah. But I guess
he's a hero, Vic.
He is a hero. First of all, he's a Marine. Let's start there. If this subway thing never happened, he's a hero right off the bat to me because he's a Marine.
Well, this guy, his father's walking around like someone killed his child, right? The father, the father of the dead guy. Okay, the father. The kid, the guy, he's in his 30s now. Was in his 30s when I think, but he was being passed around foster home to foster home. The father never saw him. Yeah. The father had nothing to do with him. But now the father's scorned and he's all upset. And
now why is that, Ken?
Because he's going to get a windfall. They're like suing for $200-something million or $300.
A civil case.
A civil case, yeah.
All right, so that's that. Now the other story that you can't avoid is the assassination of this CEO of United Healthcare. Ken, social media brings out the absolute worst in people.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And now this has become, like everything else in life, this has become a political thing, left versus right. And people on the left are like, well, sorry, your doctor's not in network, so we'll give you thoughts and prayers instead of trying to do surgery on you and stuff like that. And I'm like, wow, you sons of bitches, really?
Yeah,
so
I don't.
This guy got killed. He's got a mother. He's got a wife and he's got 2 kids.
I never looked at it politically. I thought that was a human being that was being murdered. But I haven't thought about this. I don't know why. Last night, my wife and I were talking, and we watch those mysteries, those Datelines.
Yeah, sure.
In 2020, she and I are really big into that. What about the wife? I mean, she's estranged from him. They don't live together.
I didn't even know that, Ken.
Yeah. And and I think when you start out, at least this is what happens traditionally in these Datelines types of episodes, where they start with the family.
Right.
They start immediately, like real close with the wife or husband, and then they move out to the kids, relatives, people that may know them, and then they expand that circle as they lop off the ones who are not, for sure, not guilty or not involved. And I was thinking about, well, what they haven't mentioned, the wife made a comment, but they haven't really mentioned her in any investigation at all. And I'm thinking, well, maybe they should. I don't know.
Do you have a favorite Dateline?
Not really. We just kind of, we do the reruns, even if we need our fix and we don't have anything current, then we just go ahead and we do the rerun. They have channels that just have those on them.
ID channel.
Yeah.
So my favorite Dateline is Pam Hupp.
Yeah.
From the small town of O'Fallon, Missouri.
I do that whenever I want to refer, because she my wife knows his name, and I say, "Oh, you mean the
Keith Morrison?" Oh, I see. Yeah.
You mean the Pam Hupp guy,
right?
Right, and she knows exactly what I'm talking about.
And weird thing, stepfather to Chandler.
Yes,
Matthew.
Yeah,
yeah. Pam Hupp.
Matthew Perry, right?
Matthew Perry. Thank you. So people say a guy like Keith Morrison with a voice like that, I'd listen to him read the phone book.
Oh yeah.
So he made a YouTube video of himself reading the phone book. He really did. John Adams, 12 Main Street. God, it's so funny. But anyway, so my thoughts on this have just been scattered. Okay.
Right.
Because my first thought was, remember I said maybe this guy's mother died because United Healthcare didn't approve for drugs or surgery or a medical procedure.
Right.
I just said it because that was the first thing that came to mind. Because, we've all been denied service and care and prescriptions, right? And then the more I'm looking and the more I'm listening and the more I'm trying to do inch eye, private eye stuff in my head, if this was some kind of crazy, vast conspiracy to kill this guy,
Yeah. Yeah, because people are saying, well, he couldn't have been a professional because he shot him in the leg first. Well, there could have been many reasons why a professional would have shot him in the leg like that. I mean, we don't know. We don't know if yes, it could have been just a terrible shot. However, it could have been another thing. We just don't know any of that stuff.
But what about procedure? A good professional would have walked right up to him and put his gun against his head and shot him right in the back of the head one time and left. That's a pro assassination to me.
I agree, totally agree with that. Not only that, apparently they're starting to find out more information about like the possibility that this guy's been staying here for 10 days, planning it. So it's like a first degree murder type situation. I mean, for 10 days, if you're planning it, that's premeditated for sure. But they don't. It's so weird because to me, they see his face. You see his face. You can actually identify him. If you saw him on the street now, you could identify him. Then they can't really find him. I mean, he had an obvious looking backpack on. He's riding his bike down the street.
Wait, let's stop at the bike. The GPS bike. It's the e-bike.
Right.
So the GPS, you can find out exactly where he is.
And apparently he stayed at a hostel there.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe there was a roommate there with him that they don't know about, that they're checking on. So I think they might find out some more information really quick here.
Here's another part of my problem. So the pictures that they have of him, and I wish the media could just get something straight, or at least give us the straight story as they're telling the story, because the pictures of him smiling with his mask down but with his hood up.
Yeah.
They told us that was at Starbucks.
Right.
Then they said,
yeah, and you said that.
And then they said, though, it was at the hostel. So was it at a Starbucks within the hostel? I mean,
yeah,
we can't even get the basic little things down. And Ken, I don't want to get yelled at again, okay, for using C theories, conspiracy theories.
Oh, I don't care.
I get yelled at a lot.
Let's go.
I get yelled at a lot.
Let's go.
I got to tell you, the pictures of him with the mask down and the pictures of him with the mask up don't look like the same guy. They
okay.
just don't, All right.
I hope, I'm sure they'll be coming out with more information soon, because there are supposedly a lot of people working on this.
Can you take a look at the calendar? Tell me what year does that say? What year are we in?
It is 2024.
2024, and we can't track this guy down after 3 days with all the technology we have?
That's another weird thing, though.
Yes, it is. Yes,
you know.
it is. All right, we'll figure it out as time goes on. Hey, it's a Wow Diamonds Christmas, Ken.
It is.
It's a Wow Diamonds Christmas with Newstetter's Fine Jewelers. Go to NewstalkSTL.com right now to register, and you could win a $500 gift certificate from Newstetter's just in time for the holidays. The winner will be announced on the Tim Jones and Chris Arp show on December 10th. I'm getting my hair cut today. And you can visit Newstetter's at 2961 Darty Ferry Road in Kirkwood or at wowdiamonds.com.
And speaking of Newstetter's, I have my joint for my ring finger, my wedding finger, is swollen because of, I guess, arthritis maybe or something like that. And I have to get it fitted, get my wedding ring. I haven't worn my wedding ring in months. And Newstetter's is going to do that for me. And they said it's going to look like you'd never... it's never messed with. So they offer that service is what I guess my point is.
I broke my finger with it on.
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
I can't get it off.
See that? Oh, I can't do it.
I know.
I could get it on. I could get it on there, but I won't be able to get it off. And I cannot do that. I'm sorry.
Well, Newstetter's will help, just like it'll help
right.
Kenny. WowDiamonds.com. Mr. Connor's Neighborhood. Next on 101.9 and 94.1. News Talk STL, number one for live and local conservative talk.
Stream the Vic Porcelli Show at News Talk STL. The Vic Porcelli Show.
In my life, I had a guardian angel by my side. I called her Mamaw. She loved the Lord, ladies and gentlemen. She was a woman of very deep Christian faith. But she also loved the F word.
This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com. News, analysis,
glad you're talking about this.
Opinion.
I'm glad you're fired up about it too, because I know I am.
News Talk STL.
Tim Jones here for AMF Electric. AMF Electric's industrial team, noted for its go anywhere, meet any need, and delivered on-time service. In fact, over the last almost 60 years, AMF Electric has never failed to meet a customer's needed completion deadlines. At AMF Electric, they're unabashedly pro-American. They love to work with like-minded individuals and business owners who believe in freedom of economic choice. Call them, 314-647-4066. Online, amfelectric.com. That's amfelectric.com.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Looking for an underwater adventure or a scaly new friend? Dive into Tropical World Pets on Watson Road. For 32 years, this family-owned wonderland has been St. Louis's go-to destination for all things aquatic and reptilian. With over 7,000 square feet of aquariums, we're home to the area's largest selection of freshwater fish, including rare cichlids you won't find anywhere else. But that's not all. We've got tarantulas, snakes, and lizards galore. Tropical World Pets, 314-849-4020, or visit twpstl.com.
Are you sitting on hidden treasure? Manchester Coin and Jewelry wants to turn your valuables into cash. We're Missouri's premier gold buyers and jewelry specialists with years of expertise. We offer top dollar for your coins, antiques, precious metals, and collectibles. From gold and silver to clocks and jewelry, we buy it all. Don't let your treasures collect dust. Let Manchester Coin and Jewelry give you the best value. Visit online at buyingvaluables.net or come see him today at 141 in Manchester and tell him Newstalk STL sent you.
What happens next?
The outcome of this election is not what we wanted.
Happens right here.
My entire administration worked with his team to ensure a peaceful and orderly transition.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
It's Friday!
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019.
Hi, this is Mark McCloskey. Check out my show, Mark McCloskey on Fire, Sunday afternoon at 5 here on News Talk STL. Right now, it's back to the Vic Porcelli Show on News Talk STL.
Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, members of the Senate, of the House of Representatives, yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan.
Tomorrow,
yes,
is the anniversary of Pearl Harbor Day. And when that happened, Larry, an explosion of enlistment into the armed forces, including my dad and all of my uncles, right? My father had to lie and say he was 18 when he was only 17. And, you know, you've covered, I'm sure, anniversaries of Pearl Harbor before. Just your thoughts on that day.
Well, I'm glad you guys did that, as you just did. I'm planning it for my show tonight, too, because it falls tomorrow.
Right.
And I don't want it to go by unnoticed by
why
my
we did it
program
now,
or your program.
Right.
And here's the other thing about the Defense Secretary Hegseth, if that's the one who ends up getting it, I think it will be. But the bottom line is this reinvigoration of this nation and everything coming back to the center. I'm not even saying you had to go right. Just come back to the center, come back to where we were. You'll bring back loyalty and desire to serve your country. And that's what we need at this point. Our numbers in recruitment are down so low right now. Who wants to go in? Who wants to be, basically assaulted because you're a military person?
Well, I'm sorry, Vic, but Joni, on that topic, Joni Ernst, she was talking about how she wants trans people in the military still, and she said because it's enlistment's down, and I'm thinking
I want qualified people.
Exactly, but I think one of the reasons why it's down is because they don't want to join forces with men acting like women.
I think that has a lot to do with it, and lack of leadership. There's a lack of leadership there to begin with. I mean, and I had that discussion with Dakota Wood, retired Marine Lieutenant Colonel, the other day, and we're both acknowledging that, look, a transgender, just like a woman in combat, and of course, Joni Ernst wants them in the front line. Israel does it. On one hand, I don't want it. My girls are past that age, but still, if you're going to do it, that's probably the way it should be done. But the point being that if a transgender can handle the weapons and do what they need to protect your six and carry out the mission, I don't really care about their sexual preference or what they were or what they changed. I want a military fighting machine, period.
No, Pete Hegseth does not want women in
I know
combat.
he doesn't. Yeah. And I don't really want to either, and my daughters are past that position. But
not just for my daughters. I just don't.
Well, we had Tulsi Gabbard go down in a chopper with. They've been fighting lines vary now. They're not like a front trench line like they used to be anyway.
Right. Well, not for nothing, but we're doing our part with the Air Force, and
Yeah, I love that. I love that every time.
Getting people to enlist. Okay, so let's talk about Pete Hegseth for a minute. You said you think he will be confirmed. I hope you're right. I like Pete Hegseth. I think he's a no-nonsense guy. I think a lot of these accusations about him drinking on the set and drinking before the show has been debunked by everybody who's worked with him.
Not one person will come forward and be named as saying that. They're all anonymous. If that was going on that long for that period of time, if I were coming here like that for your program, I would assume you would be going to Jeff and Joe and say, look, this guy really is not.
Larry's drunk every day.
Every day. Well, I am, but I can hide it well.
But we would have set you aside and said, "Oh, hey, Larry, things aren't working out the way we."
But you talked about anonymous people who are sticking up for him are not doing it anonymously.
Right.
Will Kane, Rachel Campos Duffy, Joey Jones, who got both his legs blown off for this country, said, "I don't drink, and I'm very sensitive to that smell."
Right.
He said he's never smelled it.
And you know what? I can drink a lot at night, and I can come in, and I don't know if I would smell like it. I doubt I do, but if it happens, so it goes. But I'm obviously capable. Now, a defense secretary is far cry from being a radio host, period. But here's the only thing about when he picked DeSantis, maybe if Hegseth is put aside, the difference I see there is DeSantis has managerial skills. He's run the state of Florida and everything. And Pete's going to have to surround himself with people that can do that part of the job. You can go in with the greatest values and mission, but you've got to know how to do it and how to bring it in together.
And I think that's true with any member of the cabinet.
And being in a combat position does not qualify you to be over everything.
Right.
And I'm not knocking him down. I'm just saying realistically.
Yeah.
And I won't say anything more until I get Joe Biden's pardon.
When's that coming?
About the same time as Kim Gardner's is, since she's also applied for a pardon from Joe Biden.
Did she really?
Yes.
You got to be
kidding. Yes.
This is. I mean, who
prosecutor
else?
of St. Louis City. I want a pardon.
What about Jack Smith and I don't know? Go down the list.
Yeah, they're going to. They're
Fannie
looking
Willis.
at a blanket pardon. They're just going to take a blanket, put it over everything, and it never existed.
How is that not an admission of guilt?
Well, you are so crass. Why would you?
Sorry.
Why would you ask such a
God.
question? You're going to need a pardon sometime in life.
No
And I'll tell
kidding.
you what, Joe Biden is not Jesus Christ, and Jesus Christ is going to be watching over you instead of Joe
And
Biden.
he's never going to pardon me. Jesus Christ will never pardon me. But it's funny because, preemptive pardon, I can't think of a more admission of guilt than that. And Fauci and Jack Smith and Clapper and Comey and Brennan
Pelosi.
and Adam Schiff and Nancy Pelosi, they all have done things wrong.
Liz Cheney.
So clearly they need a pardon or deal with the consequences.
And how are they going to? Where's the timeline going to go? Like on a Pelosi, it can't be just January 1, 2014. You got to go way back.
Yeah,
I mean, where are you going to do that?
So think about this, guys. If now Hunter's been pardoned for whatever the timeline is, 10 years ago, what if he murdered somebody? And I'm not saying he did. I'm just saying, what if he murdered somebody in those 10 years?
It'd be
Guess
covered.
what? It's
Everything's
covered.
covered. Everything's covered under that. And they're the ones that were crying out that Trump will be destroying democracy and doing all of this stuff.
They're doing a good job of
giving
it
pardons.
themselves.
Yeah, he destroyed the Democrats, not democracy.
Right.
Honestly, I think it really did damage them. I think if you're
it did.
a common sense Democrat, which there are some,
There are many.
still,
Yeah.
because I believe, and
Right.
I've told Vic this, that I believe there are common sense Democrats who have voted for Trump this time around.
I agree fully.
And they are sitting there going, wait a minute. They keep talking about how Trump's going to do this stuff. They're doing it. I am out. I am not a Democrat
Same thing
anymore.
about weaponizing the government, which is exactly what they've been doing for the last 8,
That's
12
why they do
years.
it.
Yeah.
Think about it in these terms, okay? When Kamala picked Tim Waltz to be her running mate, I mean, that guy is the weirdest guy ever, all right? When he walks on stage, waving
She
his
might have
hands.
had a chance. She might have had a better chance if she go with Shapiro. I'm glad she didn't.
But he's so weird. So Kenny and I picture the DNC, a meeting at a table in the DNC, and they're like, God, this guy is so weird. What are we going to do? And some kid in the back goes, I know. Let's call them weird. Let's call JD Vance weird.
There you go. Yeah.
Weird. Really weird.
It's weird. So listen, one thing, here's a little loophole I don't know if they thought about, though. Because now that he's pardoned, he can no longer use the Fifth Amendment.
That is correct.
So if they get him to testify in front of a committee or a courtroom and he refuses, then that's contempt of Congress or
be.
contempt of court and a possible jail sentence.
Which means he's going to have to pardon the rest of the Biden crime family and himself before he leaves.
Can he pardon himself?
That's a question. Of course, part of it deals with a Supreme Court ruling, and I would certainly refer you to numerous legal sources, including our very own Susie, that would take care of some of that.
Ask her that today.
And our Jim Jones. But I think he's capable. But now with the Supreme Court ruling, I think it makes it's more likely that he can, just do things and not be held accountable.
One of our listeners came up with the idea that he'll put Kamala Harris as president for 2 days and let her do it. And
I've been saying that for weeks that he was going to appoint her, and I thought that'd be the October surprise, that he would step down, let her serve as president the remaining period, even going into the election, so she could claim she's running as an incumbent. But my October surprise blew up my face.
So, I was going to bring this up with the secretary, but now's a good time too. There are some laws about pardons.
Right.
Okay. A presidential pardon cannot place the president above the law. This is if he's going to pardon himself.
We've heard nobody's above the law.
And so
that's what we've been told.
So that
right?
proved what a nobody Hunter was, right? Presidential pardons cannot undermine other parts of the Constitution, including constitutional rights. Presidential pardons cannot violate criminal law. Presidential pardons cannot license future law breaking on the president's behalf.
Mm-hmm.
Every branch must police presidential pardons.
Mm-hmm.
And that didn't happen with Hunter. And I doubt it's going to happen if he.
And it'd be litigated for years anyway. It's like Joe Biden saying yesterday or the other day while in the Congo, and I'm going to come back and ride that train because I love trains. With all due respect, that train will be carrying his coffin once they get that train built in the Congo.
That's so funny.
$1 billion for them.
$1 billion.
And we still have people freezing in Northern Carolina and other people across this nation that need help.
Yeah.
And not only that, but FEMA is pulling out of North Carolina right now as we speak with people still in those towns.
Right. And there was a report I saw that somebody said they needed $200 from FEMA to replace a window. They wouldn't do that, but said, "What we can book you for a week down in a hotel down in such and such. That's going to cost a lot more money than $200 for a window."
Yes.
There is exactly the reason we have the Doge people going after it. I heard you mention, by the way, on the way in, you're concerned about, not concerned, but we're as to the shooting in New York the other day, Manhattan. I'm like you. I mean, once I saw the video, when I first saw it, heard about it, I thought that was a hit job, clearly a hit job. This guy is not a professional. May have been a gun he designed himself because it jammed so often, or he wasn't holding it properly. Because if you don't hold it, the grip, if you're too light, it gives a chance for the chamber to jam.
Or go down.
Yeah.
Which is why he got shot in the leg.
Yeah, a part of it. And again, the way he was doing it looked like he had a lever of some type on the side. And I've talked to a gun expert. He said, I don't know of any semi-automatic that you'd have to use as a lever to reset the mag. I mean, to reset the cartridge, like a bolt action, basically. But the other thing is, he had no gloves on while he was at this, wherever this Starbucks or whatever it was. Obviously drank out a cup, left it there. He had no gloves on while he was doing the shooting. And then if you're going to do it, you don't start shooting 7 feet away. You just walk right up behind him. As you said, one in the skull and then two more once he's down.
So it's not, he either is not a pro. I mean, there's bad pros, right? I mean, look at the Mets. Right?
Oh my, you did have to go there.
Yeah. That's true.
6 to 8 o'clock tonight. Larry Connors, USA.
Thank
and
you,
commentary at 7:30, 12:03, and 3 o'clock.
God bless you guys.
3:30. 3.
Yeah, around 3:30. Yeah, whenever Tony reaches a spot where he takes a breath.
I'm sorry, when is that?
Whenever Tony takes a breath.
Mr. Connors' Neighborhood.
Thanks, guys.
On the Vic Porcelli Show.
Great Larry Connors. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you, sir.
You know, I mean, he's a military guy. He knows how to use guns, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I think it was a hit. I think they just picked the wrong guy.
It's like everybody was busy, and they said, "All right, why don't you go?" And I've never done it.
It was a DEI hire.
There it is.
Perfect. Larry Connors. Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft. He's next on 101.9 and 94.1 Newstalk STL. Welcome home.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Live and be well.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. Colombo and Company.
More pardons are in the works from Joe Biden before he leaves, some for people that haven't even been charged with a crime. We'll discuss Friday, plus Steve Templeton with the weekend forecast at 2:45.
Live and local weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Attention, reptile lovers. Ready to discover your next scaly friend? Welcome to the Show Me Reptile Shop, your ultimate destination for fascinating reptiles and exotic pets, with 3 convenient locations in Troy, St. Peters, and Springfield. We have an amazing selection of snakes, lizards, turtles, and more. Whether you're a seasoned herpetologist or a curious beginner, we've got the perfect pet waiting for you. Show Me Reptile Shop. Visit us in Troy, St. Peters, or Springfield, and online at showmereptileshow.com.
Jewels on Hampton and St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler featuring Alvanza's jewel art designs with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-pressure colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches. Bring in your collectibles and clocks and sports memorabilia and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa, and jewelsonhampton.com. Call them at 314-752-5000, 314-752-5000, and jewelsonhampton.com. Jewels on Hampton.
Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
All your hard-earned tax dollars and mine are going to fund illegal aliens who come across the border penniless, jobless, skillless, and they're given a cell phone, an identity, and a cash stipend every month.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
That beats your Social Security income if you should have the good nature to work your ass off your whole life and retire.
Mark McCloskey on fire. Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL. Brought to you in part by Modern Weapon Systems in Fenton. Mr. Connor's Neighborhood. Brought to you by Proctor Drapery Blinds and Shutters. Proctor, spelled like doctor. ProctorDrapery.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
We're not going to Disney World or any other world.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
No one is above the law.
Joe Biden has already proven he's willing to stand up for the rule of law and
that he does not plan to pardon or commute his son.
No one is above the law.
Isn't that he's ruled out pardoning his own son.
And the contrast is so clear in terms of decency and principle.
Nobody is above the law.
I'm not going to do anything. I said I abide by the jury decision. I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
The contrast to how Trump has behaved, how Trump has treated the rule of law, this was a good day for the system.
Letting the world know that he will not wipe away the decision of 12 of his son's peers.
No one is above the law. No one is.
So here's, all right, let's get the secretary. Secretary of State Ashcroft. Good morning. Happy birthday.
Good morning. Happy birthday. I hate to be a downer, but you've got to update that intro. Evidently, you didn't hear it, but something changed.
That's where I was going, because the left, they crack me up, and these stupid liberal people on social media, Mr. Secretary, that says, "Oh, well, let's look at some of the other presidents." So Donald Trump pardoned his father-in-law, and Bill Clinton, did his brother. And I'm like, that's not the point. The point is he lied. He said he was not going to do it. The country trusted his word, and he broke his word once again to the American people.
Well, he did break his word, but let's not let him off the hook that easily.
Yeah.
When they bring up Donald Trump's father-in-law, his father-in-law was convicted and sentenced and served the time. He did his time. Hunter Biden didn't do any time.
Right. That's so, I didn't even realize that.
And not only that, Mr. Secretary and Vic, but I think Joe Biden did this, and he said it so he could win an election. And then he knew he was going to change his mind the whole time.
Yep, that's right, too.
Well, he lied to win an election, and he pardoned to stop investigations into his corrupt dealings as vice president.
Correct.
All right, let's get back to your job, the waning weeks and months of your job.
Woohoo! Let somebody else deal with this.
Some fishing this summer for Jay Ashcroft. So the 2024 election certification was done yesterday. Everything went smooth, right? This state knows how to do it, right?
Well, the process was smooth. I can't guarantee all the people that won are going to be great, but the process was smooth.
Right. Can you explain the election certification process to us?
Yeah. On election night here in Missouri, we had results, but those were unofficial results. Those are what we believe the results were, with kind of a 20,000-foot view, quickly counting them.
Oh, so you won.
Those are...
So you're the new governor. Congratulations. Happy birthday.
No.
All right. Sorry. I'm trying.
We tried.
But after those unofficial results come out, there's then a 2-week process by the local election authorities to go back through those ballots to make sure they were counted correctly. They do audits of the ballots. They're required to do at least 5% of the ballots to go back and audit them to make sure that they were counted correctly. They look for fat fingers. They look for mistakes and precincts. Just really, you remember in math class, it was said, check your work. We do that for about 2 weeks at the local election authority level. Then 2 weeks after the election, they're required to send those reports to Secretary of State's office. We then go through their policies and procedures. We've been doing some of our own checking of numbers, looking for, things that just didn't quite seem right or incongruities in the data. But when we get their work after 2 weeks, we then go back over that and review that for about 2 weeks. And then if everything checks in that 4 week time period, we then have a certification where I, as the Secretary of State, and 2 circuit judges sign off, make the election results official. And then, of course, if people want to sue, then they can sue and make their real election challenges.
You know what? Let's let somebody else do this from now on, right?
Yeehaw, that sounds great.
So I want to talk to you about DOGE, right? Department of Government Efficiency. These 2 guys who are not going to be working for the government, they're not getting paid by the government, they're not even getting paid, but they're going to just look at wasteful.
They should be working against the government.
Right. But the wasteful spending in this country, you don't have to be a genius like Elon Musk to figure that out. You could be an idiot like me and figure that out.
Did you see the tweet that I think Elon put out? I'm not on a first name basis, but Mr. Musk put out, I think it was last night or today, where he said that about 1% of the federal government workforce, if you exclude, the military on base and our security guards and things like that, about 1% of the federal government workforce shows up at their place of work on average 40 hours a week.
They work from home, and then and Biden just
they ain't working.
Right.
They're spending your money.
Biden extended that through 2029. People don't even have to get up and go to work anymore. Is that something he can rescind?
Part of his election.
Can he rescind that?
President Trump can rescind that. And what we need with this Department of Government Efficiency is we need to start cutting. I mean, think about the Department of Education. There is nowhere in the Constitution where it gives the federal government authority over the Department of Education. What if we actually had a Secretary of Education that stood up and said, the Congress gave us all this money, but we can't tell states how to educate their kids, so we're firing everybody and we're just handing out the money the states that the Congress gave us. We're just giving it to the states and saying, spend it as you will. Goodbye, Department of Education. That's the sort of transformational stuff we need.
Absolutely right. And, it sounds so callous to say, oh, well, fire a bunch of people. Well, you know what? Yeah, fire a bunch of people. It happens in the private sector all the time.
What is the unemployment rate right now? There are jobs.
Right, exactly right. And, with people, $68 billion for the Department of Education, I mean, that can be money better spent, is what I'm trying to say.
Look, just not spending that money would help education, because that money has been going to tell boys that they're really girls and girls that they're really boys. And hey, you can change from being a boy to a girl. No, you can't.
Right. And also with the Department of Education, it's $68 billion, $1 billion that Joe Biden is now committed to Africa. And people in North Carolina, people who are just struggling in general, they look at numbers like that they can't even fathom. They'll be lucky to ever see $1 million, much less $1 billion. And nobody is sensitive or empathetic to those people.
That is exactly why Donald J. Grover Cleveland was elected. He was elected to put Americans first. Instead of sending that money overseas, let's spend it on the people in North Carolina. There were reports that a group of Amish workers over a matter of weeks, I mean, there were hundreds of them, went down and built all sorts of tiny houses in North Carolina so they could get people out of tents. I mean, they did free of charge. These are salt of the earth people that did that. They ought to be praised. And then North Carolina says, everybody out of the houses, we got to tear them down. You didn't go through the permit and code inspection. Get back in your tent.
Oh, my God. Mr. Secretary, I want to go back to the Doge for a second. 91% of buildings, 91% of the occupants in the buildings are not there. They're empty. Basically, they're like something like 9% of the buildings are being used. That's billions of dollars. That I think that's one of the effective reasons why the Doge was even created in the first place.
And it's worse than that. I hate to say this, but they're building new buildings. Right now, the Department of Homeland Security is building a new complex in southern Washington, D.C. CISA, the Center Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency, that I know a lot about from being in elections, they're going to move people there. They don't need a new building. They have buildings. They want to go from 3,000 people this year to 6,000 people next year. That's not going to help.
We're talking to Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft. I'm going to ask you a really ignorant question here, Mr. Secretary. These buildings, the ones that Kenny's talking about, the ones you're talking about, are these buildings that the government owns, or do we rent them from someone?
I would think most of them are owned,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't task the government to stupidly be renting buildings they don't need.
Right.
Because maybe someone who owns those buildings gave a lot of money to, the current president.
Yep.
True.
Maybe those buildings are owned by Burisma, that Ukrainian oil company that we're not supposed to look at anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about, says Hunter
Yeah,
Biden.
yeah.
Pardon, can't talk about it.
Can you get 2026 ready for the secretary? So Joe Biden is going to fade away into oblivion if he even lives through January 20th, which I hope he does.
He's pretty much faded away.
Yeah. So he was in Africa, and I'd like you to listen to this because he is so gone in his head.
He thinks he's a senator.
President, I'm coming back to ride on the train all the way from end to end. As I say, when we on the Senate floor of the United States Senate, excuse a point of personal privilege. I've ridden an awful lot on trains. I commute every day, 212 miles a day on Amtrak from Washington to my hometown of Wilmington, Delaware, as a senator. And so I like trains a lot.
I like eggs. Sometimes I have an omelet. So he's so gone, Mr. Secretary. He was saying, I'm going to go back and I'm going to ride to my job in the Senate
as a senator
on Amtrak, right? I mean, my God. And by the way, it's not end to end. Okay. I don't know how far south it goes, but it goes all the way up to Boston. Amtrak goes all the way up to Boston. So he's not riding anything end to end. Let's start there. Anyway, your thoughts on the senility of our president?
I think it's sad. It's sad. And now that he is going to be leaving office, I frankly don't want to talk about it because I think it's elder abuse. I think it was right to talk about it when he was running for president because he was not fit to do that. But frankly, right now, it seems wrong to beat up on a man in his condition.
Are you suggesting, Mr. Secretary, that this show does not make fun of him anymore?
Well, I mean, there's only so much you can do. I mean, there's just so much opportunity.
Part of me says, I don't care that we're making fun of a guy who's mentally challenged because of the things that he said about President Trump, right? In the 2020 election, you were the worst president we ever had. I mean, he just, the mean, terrible things that he said about Trump. I'm sorry, I don't give you a pass on that, ever. I'm an Italian from New Jersey. I hold a grudge.
Just remember what Trump said the best way to get revenge was. You win.
Winning.
He won.
Winning.
Look at his cabinet picks. We are winning, and we're going to get tired of winning. No, we're not. It's going to be fabulous.
I love it. Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft, thank you so much for your time all this time. And happy fishing when that time comes. And happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
It's Friday!
He is so lucky that his birthday is always on a Friday.
I know, it's crazy.
Isn't that nuts? So, I seriously, don't smile, okay? And
Okay.
don't just. Or should we not make fun of Joe Biden?
Should we not make fun of him?
Wow, look at that! How your face changed right there.
No, I don't agree with that. Only because Joe Biden is supposed to be the president of the United States. He's chosen this life and he's made it. He's destroyed it. I think he's damaged the presidency, but based on what he's done.
I agree.
And so therefore, and the things he said about me and you and our listeners and Donald Trump, I don't think there's an excuse for that. So,
I agree with all of that, what you just said, especially what he said about you. Those are brilliant.
I know. It's really
But I think that while he was president, he did things that were so stupid, Ken. You've got a country that's got the greatest economy ever, right? When Donald Trump was president. And then you undo everything that President Trump did, and you expect to see positive results out of that?
Do you remember when he came into office and he had 93 executive decisions that he made these things immediately? Okay. All he had to do, Vic, is just nothing.
Mm-hmm.
He should have went to the beach that day and said, okay, instead of half of my term here going to the beach, I'm going to go the whole thing. Our economy would be so much better right now.
So the question remains, why? Why did he rescind all those orders that President Trump put into place?
Are you asking my opinion?
I know the answer. When ask Susie Moore, prosecutors never ask a question they don't know the answer to. So
Right.
I know the answer to this question.
Right.
And why would he do this? It's not to help the country. It's just because it's what Donald Trump did. And anything Donald Trump did was bad. So we have to rescind all those executive orders.
I get it, and I think that's half of it. I think the other half is that there's a money chain you can follow.
That he was doing that way before he was president.
Right. No, I know.
Son of a bitch, that whole thing.
No,
right?
I know.
I just think though that it's what we talk about. If it's not Donald Trump, it must be good because Donald Trump is so bad. So he didn't rescind all of President Trump's orders to make the country better. He rescinded them because Donald Trump and Orange Man is bad. That's why. Yeah. All right, Susie Moore's next. I'm 1019 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
What happens next?
I'm not asking you that. I'm asking you. You were the same. Are you the special agent in charge? To show respect.
Happens right here.
What you have is an overgrown federal government.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Tim Jones here. I want to tell you about an awesome business located in my hometown of Eureka, Missouri that we use all the time for our exterior homestead needs. Eureka Contracting and Roofing. Veteran owned. They will come to you and schedule a one-on-one consultation. They know that replacing your roof or anything on the exterior of your home is always a really big deal, which is why they've always got a no pressure, no obligation inspection and evaluation. Fully licensed and insured. Nothing but the highest quality of materials made right here in the USA. 636-938-ROOF. 636-938-ROOF. EurekaContracting.com. That's EurekaContracting.com.
Hello, fans of the paranormal. I'm Frankie, host of the newest show on News Talk STL on a Garage. And we'll be discussing everything paranormal, from ghosts, demons, hauntings, and aliens to Skinwalker, Bigfoot, fairies, and the Chupacabra. Every Saturday night between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m., me and Jeremy will discuss mysterious events in St. Louis and surrounding areas, including gateway families and unsolved true crimes. That's right. It's all right here exclusively on News Talk STL from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. every Saturday night.
With the average funeral bill over $9,000, are your loved ones prepared? Speak with Benjamin Schaefer at Senior Memorial. Contact Benjamin at memorialplans.com. Memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial, everlasting protection.
Hey, beverage enthusiasts, it's time to stock up and save at Save On Liquor and Wine, Twin Oaks. This October, we're rolling out the biggest sale of the year. Premium whiskeys, fine wines, tasty tequilas, smooth vodkas, you name it, we got it on discount. Whether you're celebrating, relaxing, or impressing, Save On is your one-stop shop for all things liquid refreshment. 1142 Merrimack Station Road or online at savonliquor.com. Save On Liquor and Wine, Twin Oaks, where great moments begin with a perfect pour.
Tony Colombo here, reminding you to visit my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton before your next trip into the great outdoors. For decades, Bluff City Outdoors has covered all the needs for area fishermen, and they'll always have all the best bait, tackle, and gear for your next trip on the water. And now they cover all your bow hunting needs, including their state-of-the-art indoor archery range and techno hunt system, open every day for you to come shoot, or you can join a league. Follow Bluff City Outdoors on Facebook and learn more at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. On its face, it sounds impressive. America's employers hired 227,000 people last month. But Heritage Foundation economist E.J. Antoni says when you dive deeper into the numbers, things not quite as rosy as they appear.
We continue to see this unprecedented divergence between the number of jobs being added to the economy and the number of people who are actually employed. The latter has been going down even as the former goes up.
Antoni says number of full-time jobs continues to shrink as part-time employment expands. President Biden's reportedly considering preemptive pardons for current and former government officials who could find themselves in hot water when the new Trump administration takes over.
Two people familiar with the matter say deliberations have largely been among White House lawyers, but Biden himself has discussed the topic with senior aides. They say no decisions have been made. The preemptive move would be a novel and risky use of presidential power. Pardons are historically afforded to those accused of specific crimes, usually those already convicted.
That's correspondent Ben Thomas. A federal appeals court panel has upheld a law that could lead to a ban on Chinese-owned TikTok in a few short months, a resounding defeat for the social media platform as it fights for its survival in the U.S. It could be an appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court. Seems like the NYPD zeroing in on a person of interest in the fatal shooting of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Investigators now know how the individual got to New York and where he stayed. Police have also released photos of the suspect, the pictures lifted from surveillance video. Watching Wall Street this morning, the Dow is 63 points higher, while the Nasdaq is up 134, and the S&P better by 21 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Trump's victory is just the first battle. The deep state stranglehold on our economy took 50 years to build, and they won't let it go without fighting. The damage runs deeper than most Americans realize. A corrupt monetary system, a national debt exploding beyond control, a crumbling dollar. The deep state spent 50 years rigging our system. Now their economic time bomb is nearly unstoppable. Hi, this is Stephen K. Bennett. I'm here to remind you, you are not powerless. Throughout history, gold has been a safe haven from economic corruption. My trusted allies at Birch Gold Group know this. That's why they help Americans diversify their IRAs and 401ks into gold. To see how it works, get a free info kit on gold IRAs. Text the word PREPARE to 989898 right now. Don't let 50 years of globalist sabotage destroy your savings. Text the word PREPARE to the number 989898 and protect your hard-earned savings. Again, that's PREPARE to 989898 to get your free info kit from Birch Gold.
Message and data rates may apply.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
After a frigid Friday start, we really do turn a corner this afternoon. Some fair weather clouds this morning, but tons of sunshine this afternoon, a high of 39. And we're just getting started on this warm-up. Clear and chilly tonight, down to 28. Sunny Saturday, gorgeous. Temps jump to around 54 in the afternoon. And we'll make a run at 60 on Sunday, but cloudiness on the increase and maybe a few spotty showers around Sunday evening and Sunday night. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Proctor Drapery Blinds and Shutters. Proctor, spelled like doctor. ProctorDrapery.com. Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
You bet. Final hour of the working week because it's Friday.
It's Friday.
So listen, no matter where you are, you can listen to us, listen to anybody on the radio station just by using your phone, because it's a phone and it's a radio at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah. So get the phone app, put it on your phone, and then it's 2 pushes, right? Push to get the thing, and then push and it starts playing.
2 pushes.
2 pushes. That's it. Let's go.
Oh, Susie Q, baby, I love you. Susie Q.
I'm the boss. How about that?
What's the matter with my head? I should have listened to Susie more from the beginning.
I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right about that.
I'm sorry, what? Smoothie Q, how are you?
I'm good, Vic. I'm enjoying the sunshine on this Friday.
It could be a little warmer, but we'll take it. This would be like ineffective sunshine, right? Sunshine, you have to keep warm. All right, so let's get into the courtroom here, you and me and Kenny. The jury for the Daniel Penny trial has been out for 3 days. Just looking at it on the surface, is that usually good news the longer the jury deliberates, or bad news?
It's kind of like a curve. So for the first day and a half or two, I'd say it's good news. Now that we're into the third and a half day of it, it probably means that they're really struggling here, which means obviously there are some who want to find him guilty. I always say this, they will be done today, one way or the other. They are not going to carry it over the weekend.
Right.
I guarantee you that. I'm not convinced that they won't hang, though. I'd love for them to acquit, but I think if they were going to acquit, that we would have already gotten that. So
wait a second.
I'm holding out for a hang.
If they do hang, doesn't that free them from responsibility of being jurors?
Yes.
So, I mean, what would be wrong with a hung jury?
Well, then he's not acquitted. He could be retried.
Well, at this point, he's got the entire world on his side, right?
Right.
I mean,
right.
the videos that this jury wants to see, what they're going to see is that this guy Neely was not dead when Daniel Penny took his hands and his arms off of him.
Right. No, I agree with you. I'm saying I would have preferred an acquittal outright.
Of course.
I'll settle for a hung jury over a guilty finding. So that's what I'm holding out hope for at this point.
Yeah. So this whole thing, it leads into so many other conversations, Susie. If you were walking down the street, right, in downtown St. Louis, and I say, oh, look, Susie's getting mugged. Those guys are beating Susie up. Would you want me to come help or just walk by and say, sorry?
You better come help.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to go to jail for you. I love you. But, you see the situation that men are put in?
I do. I think that situation that anybody who wants to be a good Samaritan or wants to help out, they think twice. Like, is this going to come back and bite me from a legal standpoint? When something like dire is going on, I think people just act on instinct. But over time, that instinct can be shaped such that while your initial instinct might be to go to offer help, you might think twice about it when you wouldn't have, back in the day, if you will.
Well, that's the harsh part about it, is that as a man, I wouldn't hesitate. I mean, just reflex action could get me a lifetime of trouble, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's why it's not, obviously you don't want to encourage people to be vigilantes, and you don't want to encourage people to overreact to situations. But you also don't want to do what this prosecution does, which is to discourage people from standing up and doing the right thing and helping defend their fellow passengers or fellow pedestrians or whatever it is.
So do you remember when Donald Trump said, I'm going to help women whether they want it or not? Do you remember that when he said that? So, and the left went crazy because I don't need your help, you orange man. I don't need your help.
I don't need your help.
So I think one of the things he was talking about was, if I see Susie Moore being accosted on the street of downtown St. Louis, I'm going to help you whether you want me to or not. You see what I'm saying? Right. I think that's part of what he was saying.
Yeah, I think it goes to sort of the overall, I don't know if you want to call it the social contract or whatever. The bottom line is, we should be wanting to help one another out. We're disagreeing, the left wants to do it all via government and bloat and waste, but we should be wanting to help one another out, and we shouldn't just discourage people from helping just because we disagree with them ideologically. And I don't know, the way I took Trump's comments was basically, look, I'm going to employ policies that are good for everybody, and you can hate me all you want. I don't care.
Yeah. So I want to make an admission to both of you, to Ken.
Okay.
And to Susie Moore.
Yeah.
When I'm on X, I have a little problem with, I like watching fight videos, street fight videos,
Mm-hmm.
I can't stop watching them, and I love the ones that say bully gets beaten up.
That's the one I like. Yeah.
When a kid's a bully and he's beating up the little kid, there's one of them where this guy's beating up this little kid. And I mean, 5 guys come and tackle this guy and start beating. Look like a football team, but a lot of times they are a woman being accosted. This guy comes up and just bops this guy in the face and he goes down. And I'm like, that's how life should be. That's how it was in the 50s and the 60s, right?
Yeah.
You see the movies on TV and Burt Lancaster always punches the guy out and he's the big hero. I think that's chivalry. I think chivalry should not die.
I agree with you, but don't forget Kitty Genovese.
Who?
Kitty Genovese.
Tell me who that is.
She was the woman that was murdered in New York in like the 60s, and people in 64, I think it was, and people heard her screams and calls for help, and no one went to help. So that was kind of like the story that kind of emphasized the fact that people sometimes back off as bystanders.
Is this a mob story?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, she was a young woman. She was raped and stabbed outside in Queens.
I think I remember that story. Yeah.
I do not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not.
So it was always kind of held up as here's what happens when people refuse to engage and get, and help when someone else is in distress. So it was kind of like a scolding of society. Like this young woman was screaming for help and no one stood up to help her. And that was 1964. So I agree with you on the principle. I'm just saying it's not like it was everybody always stepped in to help then and now they don't.
Well, the only reason I asked about if it was a mob thing, because if it's a mob thing, trust me, nobody's going to step in and help.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it had I think it was just sort of a random stranger accosting her kind of situation.
Because there was a story, and I don't know the girl's name, who was married to a mob guy, and something happened. She said something she shouldn't have said, and they found her in the trunk of a car.
No. This was like out on a street, like in an alley in Queens.
Okay. All right.
And it's actually called the bystander effect. That's how, so when, I don't know. I learned about it like in sociology class or crim law, that sort of thing.
That's what Jerry Seinfeld and his friends got convicted of in the last episode of Seinfeld. Remember this? Somebody was getting beaten up and they didn't do anything, and that was, oh my God, so funny. Okay. So let's talk about, I want to make sure we fit everything in here. Okay. Let's talk about presidential pardons, right? Joe Biden pardoned his son, Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's talk of preemptive pardons. As a former attorney, doesn't that admit some sort of guilt, counselor?
Yeah, if you're looking at it from a common sense perspective, it absolutely does. Like, what do you need a pardon for if you haven't done anything wrong? The way it will be spun, if that in fact happens, is of course, no, it's just that we think the bad orange man is going to be super duper evil, mean, fascist, etc., and he's going to be unreasonable, and we won't be able to restrain him, when he's in power. So we have to do this preemptively to protect these people. But it's a bunch of hogwash.
So I found this site called protectdemocracy.org, and the whole article is about presidential pardons and limits to pardons. So if I just gave you the headline, would you be? Let's see if you can comment on it without knowing anything. I'm sorry, Susie. Number one, presidential pardons cannot place the president above the law. Do you think he put himself above the law in this case?
Joe Biden?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I think that part of the genesis of the pardon and the breadth of it that was issued to Hunter was to protect himself and his other family members as well.
And nobody says that. You never see that said on the news, right?
No.
You have something to say?
Just about that, I was going to say, ask Susie. Susie, this Hunter pardon does not pardon the whole family. The whole family could still be investigated, correct?
They could. However, Hunter being the key to so much of it, the pardon as to him takes a lot of the sting out of it. But I do think that there will be additional pardons for other Biden family members.
That was my next question, is asking if they, if they would pardon all of them. If he would just pardon all of them.
I think so. I think those will come on the way out the door.
Scumbag. What a piece of
what piece of what?
Piece of
Don't you cuss on this here.
Okay. Next bullet point. Presidential pardons cannot undermine other parts of the Constitution, including constitutional rights. Does that make sense, or should I expand on my answer a little bit?
Maybe expand on that.
Okay, so no one power vested with a branch of government can be used to run roughshod over other parts of the Constitution, including constitutional rights. The pardon power is no exception. For instance, in 1915, the Supreme Court found that the president could not force an individual to accept a pardon that violated his constitutional rights. Now, the big thing about this pardon for Hunter is he can no longer use the Fifth Amendment if he has to testify in court or in front of a committee or something like that. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's true, but keep in mind that only applies as to federal crimes. I haven't really given a whole lot of thought as to what state crimes Hunter could still theoretically be on the hook for, but given the breadth of his corruption and criminality,
right,
it's entirely likely that there are state crimes that he could still be within the statute of limitations on. And so he could still make the argument that he has the right not to incriminate himself from a state perspective. So I get where you're going with it, and I get the argument. I just don't know that it holds as much water as we might hope it would.
See, this is why I think there's 100% chance that Joe Biden's going to give his whole family a pardon, because if he, say, for example, Susie, if he goes into Congress for a hearing, he's going to be obligated to tell the truth, or else he could go to jail for not telling the truth about his family, unless they're pardoned as well, right?
If he's summoned and he's under oath, he's obligated, of course, to tell the truth. He could choose not to answer and run the risk of being, charged with contempt of Congress, or he could dissemble and do a lot of, I don't recall, I'm not sure. He could play games with it. I'm just not, let me put it this way. I'm not holding my breath on getting a ton of nitty gritty, dirt from Hunter going forward, even if he is pardoned. Even with the pardon, I should say.
Right. I guess we'll find out, because they're going to start asking questions about Joe's brother and everything else. Now, no president in the history of our country has pardoned himself, right?
Correct.
So this would be a precedent so scary that other presidents may use in the future that I don't think he should be allowed to pardon himself. I just don't.
Right. And I understand the argument for that. I think the problem is that it's not spelled out one way or the other in the Constitution, and it hasn't been litigated. So there are arguments on both sides of that. And of course, the left is like, Donald Trump will just pardon himself, which of course he didn't do on his way out the door in 2021. So whatever. He might now, because of the lawfare that was lodged against him in the interim. And certainly if Joe Biden were to do so, Donald Trump will be like, well, look.
Yeah.
Why should I treat it differently than he did?
Do you think Biden will trump President Trump? I mean, will pardon President Trump?
I think that would be a phenomenal move if he were to do that. I don't think that he will, but I think it's just the coverage alone on that would be just fascinating, because, the Mikas and Joes of the world their heads would spin off, and and the Joy Reids and such. But yeah, I mean, I think Trump hinted at this. He kind of flirted with it before Joe issued the pardon to Hunter, because he was asked if he would pardon Hunter, and he said, I think his dad's going to end up doing it, but I would, I'm not ruling it out. And I think Donald Trump is the kind of guy who would love the props for being the one that says, all right, I'm going to call the Kumbaya circle, and I'm going to pardon everybody, and we're going to get back to being a united States of America because I'm the good guy. I think his ego would love to be able to be the guy that does that. I don't think the logistics of it are going to work out that way.
Well, he kind of did that he could have went after Hillary if he wanted to. And
100% he could have, yeah.
So I think he already did it, and he didn't get any credit for that. The left saw his.
Yeah, they don't care.
All right. I'm not going to go through the other things because we just don't have time. I want to talk about this United Healthcare CEO that was gunned down in New York yesterday. Anything weird to you about the video we saw, about the pictures that we're seeing now of this guy, full frontal face pictures of this guy? Do you have any thoughts on what's going on?
Yeah.
Oh, go.
Yeah, I do. First of all, I mean, it's a startling situation. Like, as soon as I saw the headlines on Wednesday, I was like, wait, this is big, and made sure to get a story up on it quick. And then, I watched the press conference and the initial press conference, and it did seem like there were quite a few clues left behind. There was obviously quite a bit of video surveillance. So the chances seemed to be pretty good that they would be able to identify the perpetrator. The series of pictures that they've shown confuse me, and I haven't yet seen an explanation as to why they're two different people. Because the one is of a guy in a dark nylon jacket with a silver backpack, and the other that shows his face is of a guy in a sort of grayish, maybe even greeny, and it looks to be cotton hoodie with pockets on the front of it and a black backpack.
Susie, Vic earlier said that he thought it was two different people.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They look to me to be two different people, although you can't, because the one has his face covered up, you can't tell for sure that it's a different face, but the outfit appears to be different. So, and yet the authorities are hell-bent on the guy with the facial recognition, saying this is the guy that they're looking for. So I'm confused by that, and I don't know if it's because I don't think that it's a lighting thing. I don't think you can just explain it away because of the pockets and the drawstring on the hoodie in the one and not in the other.
Wow. Yeah.
He could have certainly changed jackets. I don't know why he would have changed backpacks, but okay. But I would like an explanation from somebody who is from the authorities as to why they are showing these seemingly different pictures. And my tinfoil hat is on. I really have some questions as to what information is being shared and why it's being shared the way it is.
So a couple quick, we have a minute left. I'm sorry. Do you think it was a pro?
No. I mean, I think it could have been somebody who was paid to do it, but I don't think
That doesn't make him a pro, though, right? Yeah.
No,
Right.
correct.
And how about the fact that he didn't go right up to him and put the gun to the back of his head and shoot? Isn't that the way pros do it?
Well, I'm not a really.
I don't know either. I mean, I'm just saying. I don't know.
No, I think that might be the Hollywoodization of it. I think he had a good shot. He took the shot. He obviously got the job done. As far
Yeah,
as
it's true.
But Susie, you're a lawyer.
executed.
Come on.
Well, look at the mess he's created. There's the one thought that came into my mind. If he was hired, right? Let's say there's something very nefarious going on, because he was under DOJ investigation and ready to be deposed, right? So what if there was something really nefarious going on? Say this guy knows too much, he's got to go, and this kid who shot him is already dead, because dead men don't talk.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a Thomas Crooks situation. Who knows? I have questions. I know that I'm kind of reserving judgment till we learn more about this, and I think we are going to learn more about this. But I just question whether it's what they want us to learn versus what the actual truth is.
I think we have some breaking news. Penny jury hung on manslaughter charge. It was more than one charge, though, right?
Yes, there is.
So I hope that means what I think it means. I haven't seen it change, but right now it says Penny jury hung on manslaughter charge. So I know he's probably going to have to go through all this again, but a little bit of good news for him, right? Getting a hung jury rather than getting guilty verdict.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than having a guilty verdict, but it's it's obviously not optimal. We would prefer to have a acquittal.
Is there a chance at all that they'll say, well, it was a hung jury the first time, we're just not going to pursue it?
Sure, there absolutely is, particularly with the changing administrations. There could be a lack of enthusiasm for retrying him from Alvin Bragg's office in light of the way things are changing.
I was going to say, it is Alvin Bragg, so he's got to go after anybody that looks like he may be a conservative.
Yeah.
All right, Susie, listen, have a great weekend. Thank you so much. RedState.com. She is the deputy managing editor of that place, and we love the input. Thanks so much.
See you, Susie. Have a good weekend.
Chat box?
Let's do it.
You up for that?
Let's go.
That's next on 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Number one for live and local conservative talk.
Whoosh.
Stream the Vic Porcelli Show at NewstalkSTL. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Think about what you'd think about at the time. Exponentially. I want to be clear.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
And let's be clear. Being clear doesn't necessarily mean I know anything, or I'm going to say something accurate. All right. You know who's very clear about what they do and their promise to you as a company? It's Connor Roofing, okay? Because Connor Roofing has been doing this stuff for 31 years. And when you see a roofing company just show up, usually right after a storm, right? And then 6 months later, you look for them and, oh my God, this company's gone. And they took our money. That's why companies like Connor Roofing exist, okay? Kathy and Rob Connor are absolute professionals. They specialize in residential roofing and repair, which is good. You won't get thrown aside for some industrial work, and they can give you an honest estimate, quality work, of course, and great customer service after they're done. I mean, Kathy will actually call you and say, how'd we do? Tell her the truth. And that truth will be, hey, you guys did a great job. So be sure you get some information if you need a new roof. Snow's heavy, man, okay? Snow on that roof is not good. Call Connor Roofing or go to the website at ConnerRoofing.com. That's CONNER roofing.com.
Tony Colombo here for the cleaning pros at Zero Res, the team we trust with keeping our home clean and healthy. And the folks at Zero Res know how important it is to you to have a clean, healthy home this holiday season. And that's why they have this great offer for you right now. Book a cleaning with Zero Res and mention the Colombo special, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129. Plus, you can take $75 off an air duct cleaning. Again, just mention the Colombo special when you call 314-474-2020 or when you book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
Are you tired of hard chlorinated water drying your skin out, tasting bad, and ruining your fixtures? Jones Air and Water Treatment has the solution to this pollution. Our Hydratech H2O leaves you with great tasting soft water at all fixtures in your home with one unit. Call Jones Air and Water at 636-899-1040 or visit us on the web at joneswater.com. You can be a filter or buy a filter. Jones Air and Water, 636-899-1040 or joneswater.com on the web. Call us now.
From home improvement to replacement, do-it-yourself electrical projects can be shocking. That's where Grasser Electric can help. They've been lighting up St. Louis for years. From ceiling fans and dimmer switches to repair or replacing your electric. No job is too big or too small for your home or business. Grasser Electric will even install emergency backup generators. So call Grasser Electric today before the sparks start to fly. 636-441-5200 or go to grasserelectric.com.
We talk about race relations.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
And I'm sick and tired of it.
101.9 and 94.1.
I find it to be a conversation starter.
News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
On News Talk STL.
It is not a constitutional right to engage in experimental surgeries that cause a child to lose their fertility. What kid, what girl knows whether she's going to want to have a baby long term, or what testosterone will do to her uterus, or that she will increase her risk of heart attack by taking these drugs?
Some of them do.
No.
None of them.
No, I don't think
None of them do.
85%, what we know from the science, and again, it's about not putting ideology over evidence, and that's what's happening here. 85% of all kids that are able to grow through puberty, who say they're gender confused, over 85% of those kids live at peace with their bodies and consistent with their sex. In those children that are put on puberty blockers, the science tells us that you're putting them on a one-way treadmill to live as the opposite sex for the rest of their life, and they will still experience being a lifelong patient.
Here's what somebody needs to say, okay? Because the people who are for mutilating children and changing their sex and changing their gender, they say, well, they have gender dysphoria, and if they don't get this surgery, they'll commit suicide. When actually the opposite is true.
Exactly.
A kid who gets their chain and, oh, what did I do? My boobs are gone. I'm not a girl anymore. And that's when the suicide rate goes
and
up.
they have to continue everything for the rest of their life. Vic, I've talked about this before, and I won't say it, but I've got a family member somewhere who is fine now. You know why? Because at a certain age, she was confused.
Yeah.
She didn't know, but she said, maybe I'm a lesbian. I don't know what I am. Well, guess what? She's not. So she decided as she grew up, she's like, okay, I grew into my being what I am.
Right. And she's okay with it.
Totally flourishing now.
Didn't ever think of committing suicide.
No, no, because she has family. She has family around her that talk to her.
But they never tell you that, Ken. You never hear that on the other side of the fence.
Never.
You never hear people say, well, this kid, changed his gender and now he wants to kill himself. They talk about the other way, and which is so stupid. If I don't get my gender reassignment, I'm going to kill myself.
I'm going to die.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. I think it's time for, wait, chat box. Yeah. Oh my God, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let's start in Rumble today. Strophis, he says, if Penny gets convicted, will they go back and change and charge the people that helped him with accessory to murder? Brings up a good point, because there were people helping, but he's the Marine. He's the likely Republican conservative guy, so let's just go after him. This is a subway car in New York City,
well,
where conservatives are outnumbered.
Think about what they did at J6, just as another point.
Exactly right.
You know.
Yep. Good point, Kenny. Good morning, all Patriot Vic Heads. No, the guy that helped Daniel Penny will not be charged with accessory because the prosecutor gave him a deal to testify against Perry.
Did he really?
won't be
Oh,
charged.
okay.
What the hell? 101 straight up enjoys locomotive breath. So does my buddy Grant. Was Austin a combat vet? I don't know. Lloyd Austin, he made his way up to general. Was he a combat? I don't know the answer to that question.
I don't know. I'd heard that he did see some action, but I don't know.
Do you know what I do know? He went AWOL.
He did?
Yes, he did. Don't you remember when nobody knew where he was for a week?
Oh yeah.
He went that's AWOL.
That's AWOL.
I mean, call it what you want on the left. That is away without leave.
You might be a general, but it's still AWOL.
That's right. Some suppressors mess with the cycling, especially if you had subsonic rounds. Okay, this is I own a firearm. You own a firearm.
Right.
Do you consider yourself an expert in firearms?
Not that much of an expert.
Me either. So and some suppressors mess with the cycling, especially if you had subsonic rounds. So suppressor.
So what he's saying is it didn't the velocity of the bullet didn't reach a speed that it's most effective
Because the silencer was on?
Because of the silencer.
Now, I've heard a lot of people say, too, it was very low caliber bullet, like a 22.
Well, that could be another thing then.
Again, I'm not the expert. But some suppressors or silencers mess with the cycling.
Okay.
And if you think about it, what I just said and compare it to the video when he's re-racking and he's hitting it.
Yeah.
And that's why there were live rounds as opposed to just casings at the scene.
But I've got a real question about the 22 caliber thing, because if it's a light caliber, a light, power-wise caliber of 22, those shots aren't going to kill somebody unless they're like a miracle bullet. Now you have these Magnum 22 calibers, but that thing would have flown out of that gun a lot faster.
Again, I'm not an expert. I know I got a gun to shoot somebody if they come and mess with my family.
Right, I get it. I know.
Most of the media doesn't know a suppressor from a bolt. There you go.
No, yeah.
Or a magazine from a clip. Okay, I'm assuming 101 straight up knows a lot about firearms.
Yeah.
You're really going to mess with their heads by bringing subsonic rounds into the equation. You guys just talk it out.
Yeah.
And let us know.
Talk it out.
Dumb it down for me. Rounds, bullets, shell casings. I don't know if Trump can rescind. Could be contract based. I think that's when we're talking about how Joe Biden signed an order that government people, a ton of government people, don't have to go to work. They can work from home.
Yeah, I think that's crap. I think that what he's talking about is we want to install and ingrain these bureaucrats deeper into the system. That's fine. You go ahead and try, but I think Trump can get around that.
Okay.
I really do. I mean, you can't guarantee somebody a job no matter what the new boss says.
You could get fired even if you work at home.
Yeah, you're not immune to. Oh, you can't. You can say all you want. You can say anything you want about the job and your boss, and then you don't get fired. Come on.
Right. Could you do me a favor? Could you go to Washington D.C. and explain that?
I'm going to right now. Well, when we're done.
I don't know if Trump can rescind because it's contract based. Was the I don't think Sleepy Joe will pardon Harris. Cash needs to go after her. I think Kash Patel is going to get easily confirmed. I really do.
I think Hegseth has a mission. This is not Hegseth is nothing like Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz just kind of walked away. Hegseth is saying, I'm in it, and I believe what you're saying about Kash Patel. I think he's going to go.
Thank you. Biden called me garbage. He seemed pretty clear then. He deserves everything he gets now.
You betcha.
Want to be clear, you guys are garbage. Ruthie says, too childless cat lady. Totally agree. Biden's been a creep and a jerk his entire career. He doesn't deserve any slack whatsoever.
Nope.
Wow.
And that's Ruthie.
Wow. I thought this exactly. Hey, I'm sorry. Are you done?
How you doing?
So I swear to God, lightning strike me dead if I'm lying. When they're talking about this mutilation of kids and stuff, I said to myself, this is Joseph Mengele type stuff,
It
right?
is, yes.
And that's what Barry said. Joseph Mengele stuff, disgusting experiments. Maybe Trump can just eliminate those jobs completely. Yeah, just because you're working at home doesn't mean you might not get fired. And I don't want you to get fired, so I don't want to hear, I don't want new cards or letters of how mean I am. Over Facebook, good Friday morning, Freedom Fighters. Good morning, Freedom Fighters. It's Friday. GMFFDH, did you watch the Patriot Awards on Fox Nation? Our President Donald J. Trump was honored as Patriot of the Year.
I saw that. Yeah, that's awesome.
It's Friday. I don't have Fox Nation. I probably should. There's so much good stuff. That Martin Scorsese series is on there.
Is it?
Called The Saints. Looks really good. Look, Leanne's using Barbara's thing. GMFFBH.
There you go.
How can blanket you pardon people?
How can you blanket pardon me?
That's not what it says.
Okay.
Maybe that's what it wants to say. But Leanne, if you could write this again, that'd be great. How can you blanket pardon people you haven't been charged or convicted yet? I mean, she's saying what we're saying. I think it's an admission of guilt.
Yeah.
And I think
fired. Get out of here. You're fired. You're incompetent. You're incompetent.
I think we're going to see.
Get out of here.
I think
You're
we're going to hear
destroying
that.
our nation.
I think we're going to hear that. I think that's going to happen.
Can you play it again?
Yeah.
You're fired. Get out of here. You're fired. You're incompetent. You're incompetent. Get out of here. You're destroying our nation.
So great. And again, I'm not trying to be a meanie saying fire everybody. But,
No.
And I hate to sound like a great big baby, and maybe I do when I say this, but Kenny and I have been dismissed from certain jobs, and nobody gave a damn about us.
And let's look at it this way. That's a very, to say that you feel really, really bad for everybody and they should keep their job no matter what, that's a very liberal thing to say, because you're saying we need to pay them taxpayer money for just sitting in an office chair.
And maybe not doing their job.
Exactly.
Now, don't get me wrong. People that work at home right here in St. Louis, many of them do their job very, very well.
Even better than people in an office.
Right.
My wife stays at home. She works for the state, and she does it a few days a week.
My wife does as well. And you have to have a certain discipline to do that. I would not be able to work at home. I'd just be watching The Price is Right, and
Vic, it's based on meritocracy. If my wife, for example, didn't do even better than she's intended to do, they wouldn't let her go home. They'd say you need to be in the office 5 days a week to be watched.
You're fired, guy.
That's right.
Let's come back, finish it up, including the wheel of audio clips. That's next on 1019-94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
It's Friday!
Stream the Vic Porcelli Show at NewstalkSTL. The Vic Porcelli Show.
You've used a phrase, I want to make sure I understand what you mean by it. You've referred to people with a capacity for pregnancy. Would that be women?
Correct! Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
How did we let this happen?
Laying on our rear ends and not doing anything about it.
For 250 years, almost 248 years, a woman is a woman and a man ain't nothing but a man. When did we let this slip away from us? Why? How?
I think when we said it was okay for the left to take over our culture and our schools, I think that's when it started. I really do. I think it was when it really started happening.
So we had 8 years of Obama, only 4 years of President Trump, and now 4 years of Biden. So they got us 8 and 4, 12 years to 4.
Right.
So,
yep.
Chris Cooper, one of our favorite guys in the whole wide world. He owns Serenity Wealth Management, and he's the kind of guy who, if you say, "Hey, Chris, I need your help on, tax planning and tax efficient solutions, trusts, things like that," and you go in and you talk to him, before you start talking about that, he'll say, "So how are you? You doing okay? How are the kids? Wife doing good? You guys are going on vacation this year? Fantastic." I mean, I was on his show, which is not called Fun with Finance. It's called Serenity Wealth Now.
Right.
And we talked about everything and anything that had nothing to do with wealth or management or taxes or anything for a long time,
Right.
And then I brought up the question I wanted to ask him, which was, what about this Social Security thing? What's the deal? When can you take it? When do you get more? When can you take Social Security and still not have a limit on how much you can make? Because if you take Social Security too early, they limit you on how much money you can make.
Yeah.
So I don't want that.
No.
So, and then but then we finally got into that conversation.
And he knows all that stuff. I've asked
does.
him questions about things. I'm like, oh yeah, okay.
And he knows how to have fun too, is my point.
Yes.
Good guy. Chris Cooper. So he writes books and he makes no money on. The newest book is called The New Holistic Retirement, and you can get it for free right now. SerenityNowTax.com. SerenityNowTax.com. Listen to his show Sunday morning at 9:00. Serenity Wealth Now. Serenity Now with Chris Cooper.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors.
Serenity Now! Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Friday, Tim and Chris are back with Marine Corps vet Kate Monroe on Pete Hegseth's confirmation, and then Patrick Toohey of Show Me at 5:20.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros, your all-in-one gutter service team that brings years of experience and quality that's affordable right to your doorstep. We discovered Gutter Pros a few years ago when we bought our home and inherited a gutter issue that was on the road to becoming a potentially big problem, but thanks to Gutter Pros was stopped before causing any major damage. They've also repaired the siding on our home because along with gutter repair, gutter installation, and leaf protection, the Gutter Pros are also the best for siding repair and installation. Learn about all the ways Gutter Pros can help your home at gutterpros.com.
Are the days of a personal doctor gone? Not at Body of Health Direct Primary Care. I'm Dr. Randy Tobler to share how our design is putting the care back into healthcare. Plain and simple, our members, not insurance companies, get our exclusive focus. That means same or next day appointments, responsive answers to your concerns, and a no-spin, big tool chest approach. It's about time you get serious time devoted to your medical needs. To learn about healthcare the way it ought to be, schedule a discovery call today at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com.
Hungry for the best steak you'll ever have? Head to the heart of Moscow Mills and discover Harry J's, a local landmark and family-owned steakhouse, serving up excellence since '98. From mouth-watering appetizers to decadent desserts, Harry J's has something for everyone. Enjoy our extensive bar selection while soaking in our friendly family atmosphere. Whether dine-in or carry-out, your meal is prepared to perfection. Make the drive to 300 Main Street and treat yourself to a taste of Moscow Mills' finest. Harry J's, more than a steakhouse. We're a tradition.
SR1 Sundays.
Hey, this is Aaron Dorr from the Missouri Firearms Coalition. Don't miss our new show, Shall Not Be Infringed, this coming and every Sunday as part of SR1 Sundays. Tune in for Stand and Fight with Nick Schroer at 6, Next Gen with Dane Define at 8, and my show, Shall Not Be Infringed at 9. See you then.
SR1 Sundays.
Sunday night at 6 on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Fox News commentary.
California Governor Newsom wants $25 million to Trump-proof his state. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Trump's victory doesn't mean our financial worries are over. Hi, Dr. Ron Paul here. Washington's spending addiction still threatens your savings. That's why I recommend gold IRAs from my friends at Birch Gold Group. These accounts protect your retirement from government mismanagement. For a free info kit on gold IRAs, text the word SHELTER to 989898. Don't wait. Text SHELTER to the number 989898 now for your free kit from Birch Gold.
Message and data rates may apply.
California is the 5th largest economy in the world, but you wouldn't know it by looking around the place. The Golden State has the largest homeless and illegal immigrant population, and yet the governor thinks his constituents should afford $25 million to resist Trump. After a special legislative session was called in California this week, Governor Newsom calculates he needs $25 million in additional funding to help fight Trump's agenda. Even with a budget shortfall in the state, that is what Newsom wants to waste money on. Part of the extra funding request will go towards helping illegal immigrants fight legal battles against Trump's incoming immigration enforcement. Newsom also wants to allocate funds towards abortion access protections, though Trump has repeatedly vowed not to sign a federal abortion ban, and the state has already protected abortion in its constitution. If you are a reasonable individual, it's time to flee California before you're stuck paying for this insanity. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
The Wheel of Audio Clips brought to you by Senior Memorial. With the average funeral bill over $9,000, are your loved ones prepared? Call 314-866-8886 or memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
You must have got manure for your brains.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Whoosh. Whoosh. Whoosh.
The acting Secret Service director, Ronald Rowe, and Pat Fallon, a Republican representative from Texas. Listen to them go at it.
So actually, Congressman, what you're not seeing is the sack of the detail out of the picture's view. And that is the day where we remember the more than 3,000 people that have died on 9/11. I actually responded to Ground Zero. I was there going through the ashes of the World Trade Center. I was there at Fresh Kills.
I'm not asking you that. I'm asking you,
Congressman.
were you the special agent in charge?
To show respect
You were not.
for a Secret Service
that's a bunch
member
of horse hockey.
that died on 9/11.
You were trying to be.
Do not invoke 9/11 for political purposes.
I'm not. I'm invoking this.
You are, sir.
Gentlemen,
And you are out of line.
I would like to ask him a question, please.
You are out of line, Congressman.
Don't try to bully me. I am an elected member of Congress, and I'm asking you a serious question. And you are.
I am a public servant who has served this nation, and
you won't answer the question
on our day, on our country's darkest day.
Mr. Committee will come to order.
Committee will come to order.
I'm asking you serious questions for the American people, and they're very simple. They're not trick questions. Were you the special agent in charge that?
No, I wasn't. I was there representing the United States Secret Service, sir.
Mr. Fallon, your time's expired.
Did not affect protective operations.
You know why you were there? Because you wanted to be visible, because you weren't listening for this
I was
job.
there to pay respect for a fallen member of this agency.
You endangered
You are
President
out of line,
Biden's life,
Congressman.
Vice President
out of
Harris's
line.
life, because you put those agents out of position.
Mr.
Did you have a radio with you?
Mr. Fallon, your time has expired. I did, sir, and you are out of line.
Mr. Chairman.
Stop.
Mr. Chairman.
That's great. That is great. That's Pat Fallon, my new hero, giving it to Ronald Rowe. And he's asking some serious questions that nobody wants to answer about the assassination attempt on Donald Trump. So they should have let him wrestle.
Yes.
They just should have wrestled right there on the floor.
Not wrestle. They should have wrestled.
They should have wrestled. So another thing, how dare you, Ronald Rowe, talk about 9/11 when we're not talking about 9/11? This was a committee hearing talking about the assassination attempt on Donald Trump's life, especially on July 13th in Butler, Pennsylvania.
Right.
And then he brings up the sympathy 9/11. I get it, okay? Terrible day in history, worst day, and you were there. Fine. Where were you on July 13th? I think that's the question. Did you have a radio? Were you in charge? Who was in charge? Why do you want to kill the president? That's what it should
Well, I don't want to answer that because I was at 9/11. I was there.
Exactly, Ken. Exactly what he was doing. And no, gone. Say bye-bye to my thought.
I saw it.
So it fly away?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go.
Wheel of Audio Clips!
It's America's favorite game show, The Wheel of Audio Clips. Here's the host of Wheel of Audio Clips, Vic Porcelli.
Thank you, Jim Oslo. Thank you, Kenny Williams. Studio audience. God, you guys look great. Thank you, ladies, for showing up today.
It's the Wheel of Audio Clips. And all it is we take some stuff that we've heard all week. Kenny puts them on the wheel. We spin the wheel wherever it lands. That's what we play. Kenny, are you ready to spin that wheel?
I am ready,
Then
Vic.
give it a spin, baby.
All right.
And let's hear something we like, or people that we like, or something like that.
I
Not
love
like-
my wheel, by the way. It's all cleaned up today. I waxed it.
Your wheel?
Our wheel.
Okay,
I'm
you
sorry.
didn't say
No,
our
I'm
wheel.
sorry.
You said-
It's our wheel.
Oh, God, no.
Oh, yeah.
Joy Reid, because if you object to, just play it. The acting Secret Service.
Oh, wrong.
I thought Joy Reid just got up to the
Wow.
Secret Service
That's
director.
scary.
Go ahead.
The presidential pardon was originally meant to grant the president the power to temper justice with mercy. It was not enshrined in our Constitution so that a dishonorable man could reward his criminal allies, friends, and family for their corrupt practices. I don't have a problem with Biden pardoning his son. He should have pardoned him. The crazies are coming, right? But to me, it's like pardon more.
Pardon more. Come on.
Yep.
What a liar.
They don't realize that's admission of guilt. It's admission of guilt.
Well, on one hand, she's saying, "Oh, don't see Donald Trump. He's going to pardon people. He shouldn't do that. That's just illegal. He's Hitler." And then in a moment, she turns.
Why doesn't she go back and look at how many people Barack Obama pardoned?
Yes.
More than Biden and Trump combined.
Right. And like you always said, we do videotape this stuff.
There is evidence that you've said this. Right. All right, spin the wheel. We're trying to be on time today. That's my objective for this segment of the show is to get out on time. All right. Here comes there. Nope. Oopsie daisy. It's Joe Biden.
A special thanks to one of the great public health officials, a true hero, who we've led this fight against HIV/AIDS, Dr. Anthony.
What?
Who we've led this fight against HIV/AIDS,
Dr.
Anthony Fauci.
HIV/AIDS?
Where is that? And you're a good man. God love you. As my mother would say, God love you, Anthony.
Now, I just want to make sure of something.
Yeah.
Joe Biden, his grandmother used to say, God love you, Anthony. Whose name was Anthony in the Biden family?
His mother. His
mother used to say, God bless you?
Yeah, God bless you, Anthony.
Anthony. Huh. I had no idea he had relatives. And what was that? With the
It's a new strain of COVID, I do believe.
I think he was saying HIV because Fauci had a lot to do with HIV and AIDS.
Oh,
who we've led this fight against HIV/AIDS.
HIV/AIDS.
Oh, HIV/AIDS.
HIV/AIDS.
I forgot that. Spin the wheel. Holy God.
Holy cow. It's HIV/AIDS, I do believe he said.
Because he screwed up AIDS and HIV.
Yes, he did.
All right, here comes Trump. Here it comes. Trump. But I do like this one. This is Senator Bill Haggerty on Meet the Press talking about Kash Patel.
President Trump is entitled to name his appointees. That is exactly what he's doing, and I'm going to support this appointment. Kash has worked in national security. He's worked at the Department of Justice, and he's somebody that has been willing to uncover the wrongs at the FBI. He's the one that uncovered for the American public what happened with Russiagate. He's the one that can see through the fix here.
I could just see Kristen Welker with her hand
Oh,
up,
yeah.
right? Doing what you said.
But, it drives me nuts.
So, if you listen to this show regularly, I think I can speak for Ken here. If I'm not, just tell me I'm wrong. I think we both revere and admire
You're wrong.
A.F. Branco.
I'm just joking. Yeah, I love him.
I was almost going to write him a letter and says Ken doesn't like you anymore.
I do.
A.F. Branco is the best editorial cartoonist in the business. And recently he had a cartoon with Kash Patel holding a microscope. And the microscope is also a flashlight. And it's all the cockroaches that are in government that he's looking to get rid of.
I love that.
Yeah, really, really good. You can see it on my X page that nobody sees. Do one more. If I don't hear President Trump, by the time the segment is over, I'm going to file a grievance with the union.
Man, you get some power in those words, mister.
See, and it worked, didn't it?
No.
President Donald John Grover Cleveland Trump.
Under the Trump administration, we will put more money in your pocket. We will let you keep more money than you ever thought possible. We're bringing it down. We're bringing the cost down. We will have large tax cuts for workers, and we are going to have something very special. No tax on tips.
Love it.
No tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security benefits for our seniors.
I'm a senior.
That's right. I love it.
That's a big one.
I'm a senior. No tax on Social Security.
I like that.
I'm for it. So that was our incoming 47th president. Hashtag 45 and 47. Donald John Grover Cleveland Trump. I'm telling you, getting closer to Inauguration Day, every news outlet is going to say Grover Cleveland. And we said it first. Hold on, he's coming.
Remember, they're coming after me because I'm standing up for you.
All right. You know what, Ken?
What, Vic?
We haven't done the Trump dance in a while. You want to do a little bit of that?
Ooh, yeah.
It doesn't have to be too long. Yeah, here we go. Come on, everybody. This is your morning cardio. Not like that cardio we were talking about. This is the cardio. Move your arms around and do the Trump dance. Let's go. It's not just back and forth. I think he's got some up and down.
Yeah, a little of that.
Little up and down.
I
once
saw
in
him
a while.
do this the other day.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah.
The old curly cue.
Right.
Twirly. All right, get rid of that. My gosh. All right, listen, thank you so much for having the record player on at night to listen to us this morning.
Make sure you have the record player on at night.
Ken Williams, take a bow right now. Come on. Ken Williams, everybody. That's why everything sounds so good. Thanks for listening. We'll see you Monday. Normal week Monday. And then Christmas week after that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's you're not going to hear too much of
We're
us.
going to be highlighting a lot of folks that are going to be filling in.
That we love.
Yeah.
All right. Have a great weekend. Bongino's next on News Talk STL.
Whoosh.
Sooner or later I'll be clocking in again. Someday I'll be able to forget my working days. Life will be grim because the ship is coming in. Everything will go my way and I won't have to say it on the weekend. Here come the weekend. Here come the weekend. My working week's so tough, I think I've had enough until the weekend. Here come the weekend. Here come the weekend. Here come the weekend.
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
Thanks for being my voice in all this.
This is News Talk STL.
There are people out there that feel the way that I feel and say what I say.
Welcome home.
Hey, Tony Colombo here with Tim Jones for our friends Rodney and Jen Wallner, the Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway, the #1 home selling team in the St. Louis area. And I can say that from firsthand experience. My wife and I were blown away from the results that we saw from working with Rodney and Jen, from selling our old home faster and for more money than we thought possible to finding our family's perfect new home. They over-delivered every step of the way. And right now, it's still very much a seller's market. So, Tim, for folks that have been thinking about selling their home, it's a perfect time to call the Wallners.
That's right, Tony. And don't forget, they're licensed in both Missouri and Illinois, so no matter where you are in the metro area, you can put St. Louis's #1 home selling team to work for you. The Wallners' experience and work ethic, second to none. And of course, the numbers speak for themselves. The Wallners sell 15 times more homes per year than the typical realtor. Right now, they're working with so many qualified buyers, they'll guarantee to obtain you an offer. If you've been thinking about selling your home, don't wait. Call the Wallners now at 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD for the Wallner home selling team.
Hey, Colombo here for Rockwood Charcoal. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory, so you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
Transform your space with JML Interior Design in Clayton. For 32 years, local woman business owner Jeannie Lashmet has been creating stunning interiors that reflect your vision. From residential to commercial, kitchens to corporate spaces, JML Interior Design brings expertise to every project. Planning a home remodel, tackling new construction, or the expert commercial interior space planning service. Jeannie and her team deliver great designs that work. Call 314-453-4233 or visit jmlinteriors.net. JML Interior Design. We just don't dream it, we do it.
'Tis the season to indulge in the magic of our new holiday flavors at Pop Pop Parade. Savor the festive delights of Almond Crunch, Toffee Cashew, Merry Grinchmas, and Jingle Bell Pop. Christmas never tastes so good. Also, pop in and try our new holiday ice cream and milkshakes featuring our eggnog, peppermint M&M, and our mint Oreo shakes. Visit us today at our Ferguson or St. Charles locations. And remember, when you shop small for the holidays, you're making a big difference. Pop Pop Parade. More flavor, more fun, endless possibilities.
Have no fear, the perfect gift is that Pop Pop Parade.
Season's greetings from Viviano's Festa Italiano.
For 20 years, we've been bringing a taste of Italy to Chesterfield and Fenton. Family owned and passionate about food, we've got something for everyone. From mouth-watering lunch specials to elegant catering that'll make your holiday parties unforgettable. Including banquet rooms at our Fenton location. Gluten-free, vegan, we've got you covered. Head to Viviano's,
where every bite tells a delicious story.
2 locations, endless flavor. Visit vivianosmarket.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
This hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott.
In New York, a jury has sent a note saying it cannot reach a unanimous decision on the manslaughter charge in the trial of Daniel Penny, a former Marine accused of killing Subway performer Jordan Neely with a chokehold in May of 2023. The development came as deliberations had stretched into a fourth day. The jury is not permitted to consider the second count, criminally negligent homicide, until it has reached a unanimous decision on the manslaughter count. It was not immediately clear if the judge would send the jury back to try again to decide on the manslaughter charge, Penny pleading not guilty to both charges. President Biden sharing the latest jobs numbers.
The economy added 227,000 jobs in November, which was a solid recovery from the previous month. The president issued a statement saying America's comeback continues. He pointed to the still low 4.2% unemployment rate. Mr. Biden said there's more to do to lower costs, but said progress is being made for working families.
White House correspondent Greg Cluxton. Also at townhall.com, the investigation into and search for the masked gunman who stalked and killed the head of United Healthcare, Brian Thompson. Moving into its third day, possible leads have emerged about his travel before the shooting and a message scrawled on ammunition found at the crime scene. Police did release new photos of a person that is wanted for questioning. Iran is poised to quite dramatically increase its stockpile of near-weapons-grade uranium. According to the International Atomic Energy Agency head Rafael Grossi, he said Iran had begun preparing advanced centrifuge cascades to spin at nuclear facilities to increase its supply of 60% enriched uranium. Stocks are mixed, the Dow dropping 31 points, the NASDAQ composite up 109. More at townhall.com.
Trump's victory is just the first battle. The deep state stranglehold on our economy took 50 years to build, and they won't let it go without fighting. The damage runs deeper than most Americans realize. A corrupt monetary system, a national debt exploding beyond control, a crumbling dollar. The deep state spent 50 years rigging our system. Now their economic time bomb is nearly unstoppable. Hi, this is Stephen K. Bennett. I'm here to remind you, you are not powerless. Throughout history, gold has been a safe haven from economic corruption. My trusted allies at Birch Gold Group know this. That's why they help Americans diversify their IRAs and 401ks into gold. To see how it works, get a free info kit on gold IRAs. Text the word PREPARE to 989898 right now. Don't let 50 years of globalist sabotage destroy your savings. Text the word PREPARE to the number 989898 and protect your hard-earned savings. Again, that's PREPARE to 989898 to get your free info kit from Birch Gold.
Message and data rates may apply.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
After a frigid Friday start, we really do turn a corner this afternoon. Some fair weather clouds this morning, but tons of sunshine this afternoon, a high of 39. And we're just getting started on this warm-up. Clear and chilly tonight, down to 28. Sunny Saturday, gorgeous. Temps jump to around 54 in the afternoon. And we'll make a run at 60 on Sunday, but cloudiness on the increase and maybe a few spotty showers around Sunday evening and Sunday night. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
Is your retirement income at risk if you or your spouse needs nursing home or in-home care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL 1019. The cost of long-term care is one of the biggest risks in retirement planning. For many retirees, a single nursing home stay can cause a significant reduction in assets that can permanently reduce your retirement income. Fortunately, there are affordable and flexible options available today that can help you manage the cost of long-term care. Our team can help you address the risks relevant to your retirement, including long-term care. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Dive into adventure with Great American Divers. We're your local veteran-owned scuba center offering PADI certification courses, equipment repair fairs, and dive travel opportunities. From beginners to experts, we got you covered. Kids can join our SEAL Team classes, and we even host pool parties. Our experienced staff is passionate about teaching, and we're the only center in the area with our own indoor heated pool. Great American Divers on Central School Road in St. Charles. Visit greatamericandivers.com. Great American Divers, where adventure runs deep.
The Republican Party of the City of St. Louis wishes you a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, no matter how you celebrate the season. Join the City of St. Louis Republicans for their annual holiday party, December 18th at PH Rose. There'll be a silent auction, raffle, and plenty of holiday cheer. Go to stl-gop.com to get your tickets and learn more. The City of St. Louis Republicans wish you a joyous holiday season and a prosperous new year.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC, Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
It's time that everybody wake up and pay attention.
Live and local.
Recent criminal indictment of Donald Trump. About the fourth one. The fourth one. The one he got the free gift with. Punch card. I think it's a tote bag.
This is News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion. News Talk STL.
From the NYPD to the Secret Service to behind the microphone, taking the fight to the radical left and the putrid swamp. You're listening to the Dan Bongino Show. Filling in for Dan, Jim Verdi, and Evita Duffy Alfonso.
Good afternoon. It's Jim and Evita filling in for Dan today. Thanks for being with us. Got a lot for you today. We got to put some pressure on some senators. Now, well, we're going to get into that a little bit. We got some breaking news happening, though, right now in New York. There's a you can't officially, I guess, call it a hung jury yet, but apparently they can't come to an agreement on this Daniel Penny case. So the judge is asking them to go back and continue deliberating, but they can't agree on the manslaughter charge. And they're considering other lesser charges, but the judge still wants them to go back in. He doesn't want to necessarily declare a mistrial yet. Now, I don't know about you, Vita, but this is ridiculous. We saw this in all the Trump lawfare all year long, that New York is a completely different kind of animal with this Alvin Bragg clown. Lady Justice is supposed to be carrying these two scales, and she's supposed to have a blindfold on. But in this case, she doesn't have her blindfold on. She's peeking through it. Her blindfold is the rainbow colors. She's got a Ukraine sticker on her T-shirt, and she has pronouns in her bio. So it's like you can't get a fair trial in New York. Jonathan Turley just saying this never should have come to trial.
I mean, Daniel Penny didn't really even have a chance. I mean, that's kind of what you're articulating there, Jim. And there never should have been charges brought. I mean, that's what's so outrageous about this is even if Daniel Penny is found innocent, which I hope that happens, this sets a precedent. I think that heroes in big blue cities need to just step aside and allow bad things to happen because they'll be punished for doing the right thing. They'll be punished for protecting women and children from homeless schizophrenic maniacs who are threatening to kill everyone on the subway. It's an outrageous prosecution. And the precedent I think that it sets is going to be deeply negative for decades to come.
Which is, when you think about it, the fact that they're kind of deadlocked, that means there's people on the jury who are going, yeah, maybe I think this definitely should have been manslaughter. And not listening to the people who are on the subway saying, hey, this dude was going to kill us. He was threatening to kill us, and this guy jumped in, and we appreciated him doing that. You had other people who aren't charged at all who were helping Daniel Penny keep this guy down, and there's no justice there. They're just going after Daniel Penny, I think, for obvious reasons.
And Jim, this has been so biased from the very beginning. You know the photo that they initially showed of Jordan Neely, the man who died in this case? It was him years prior as a smiling teenager. Right. He looked like a little innocent kid. And that's not what Jordan Neely looks like at all. But the media ran with that photo on purpose because they wanted to create this narrative that Daniel Penny killed a kid who was super sweet and did nothing ever wrong. The guy was a criminal. The guy was homeless on the streets. He was violent to other individuals. This entire case has been skewed by the media, which is also hell-bent on, for some reason, punishing good people in this country. And I don't think that this has ever really happened in America. Maybe it's happening in other Western nations, but that we say, you know what? We're going to give you special privileges if you do bad things, and we'll punish you if you do good things. And this prosecutor in the case, Jim, has been somebody that has bragged about criminal justice reform and helping people that kill and rob an elderly man get off the hook, or at least have a lenient sentencing. So the priorities of this city are clearly backward.
Right. In the case you were just talking about, too, this same prosecutor was heard to have said, or I think spoke to the media about it and was saying, you know, I understand what this person did. They knocked over and robbed and wound up killing allegedly accidentally, an 86-year-old man. But I also took into account that I had to look into his background, what his upbringing was. Well, she's not doing that in Daniel Penny's case at all. She's not looking at Daniel Penny's motive or his background or you know, the fact that he served in the United States Marine Corps and was a person who helped other people. And as far as the Jordan Neely thing, sure, they rightfully bring in his background, and I completely understand it. Mom was bludgeoned to death. That's a horrible story. Can't imagine what went through his mind having to live with that, and then being thrown into an awful foster care system where who knows what happened to him. And once he was out of that foster care system, was homeless pretty much for the rest of his life, wound up in jail, though, 42 times. This is the problem. They're not in the foster care system, and then when they arrest these people, they just let them out again. When there's 42 times, there's obviously a record that this guy has problems. Why is there no way for these people to get some type of other help to be able to make them not continue to go to jail? They said he was schizophrenic, and that's one of the reasons he was acting this way. But at the same time, if he's schizophrenic, why can't we get him some help? And, you know, maybe have him, there's got to be a way to do a commitment, even though there's no family that can do it for him, a commitment to help him get over this schizophrenia and help him. We just don't care about people anymore. That's the problem.
Yes. And Jim, a lot of young men who have schizophrenia have that mental affliction sparked by drug use. We know that Jordan Neely was a drug addict. We have an open border right now that is flooding these drugs into the country. So yeah, there are systemic problems that led to the death of Jordan Neely, but it's not racism. It's blue city policies that created Jordan Neely. It's his family, frankly, that created him. And you have his absent father now saying that he's going to sue Daniel Penny for the death of his son. This man shouldn't even be showing his face in public. He should be ashamed at his son, who threatened to kill passengers on the subway, who was a complete degenerate, a failure in life and a net negative on society. And this dad should take responsibility for that. And instead, he's trying to get money out of Daniel Penny. It's an outrage. And I want to also make a point about women, because there are a lot of women who, and I know them, right? I'm 25. There's a lot of young, woke, liberal women. They voted for Kamala Harris, and they think that by siding with Jordan Neely and saying we should convict Daniel Penny, that they're being really compassionate, that they're doing what's right by society because they're anti-racist. And those women are the ones that end up losing. Those women are the ones who are getting punched in the face at random in New York City, who are, getting robbed, and nobody steps in because they're punishing the men who act in their protective instincts in public. So I just don't understand the women in particular who are trying to lynch Jordan Neely in the court of public opinion, or Daniel Penny in the court of public opinion, because the only people that it hurts really are women.
Women and everybody else in New York City. I think to your point that you made earlier about the father, when you said he should be ashamed of his son, shouldn't be ashamed. Okay, there's a shame. Being ashamed of his son is one thing. He should be ashamed of himself. He let that young man just wander the streets. He did nothing to help that young man. And that is one of the main problems with criminals in the country today is there's a lack of fatherhood. Fathers are not in the home to be able to raise these kids. If he was a real father who's basically looking for a payout right now, and you know what? As sick as that city is right now, he'll probably get it. I wouldn't be surprised if Alvin Bragg personally went to bat for him right now to make sure he got some kind of payment. But that guy is the one to blame. That's where you point the finger at. His mother was brutally bludgeoned to death, and the father didn't step in to take care of that kid. I don't even know if he was there even from the beginning, even with the mother. It's a whole, this whole thing is a mess. And it's again, we go back to where we saw this past summer, the lawfare in those very courts. You had the E. Jean Carroll abomination trial. You had the ridiculous Trump defrauded the banks trial. Then you had the other Alvin Bragg case that he allegedly got 34 convictions, which I'm going to dispel that right now. There were not he's not a 34 count felon. It was whenever your friends bring this up to you and throw that in your face, your lib friends or the libs that you know, whenever they do that, say, what are the 34 counts? List the 34 counts. They can't do it because it's one count that was stacked. They broke it out and made it 34 to make it seem bigger. And there was no way Donald Trump was getting a fair shake in that trial at all, as you can see by this Daniel Penny thing.
And Jim, they always use this Jordan Neely case. They use George Floyd. Any time that we have a situation where it's a white cop or a white bystander and then a black individual, that this is a systemically racist country. And it's so, I just think, subversive to do. I mean, it doesn't address the root of the problem, like you were talking about, right? The fatherlessness crisis, the open border, the breakdown of cultural norms and values that we used to have in this country. And instead it paints this country as inherently racist. And it's not true. And it's an assault on our identity as Americans. It destroys any sort of national pride that we could possibly have. And it's demoralizing to the people. And it seems like that's the goal. It seems like that's the goal in blue cities, to demoralize us, to make us feel shameful for being Americans, or to make you feel shame. And I'm a mixed woman, but it's like, well, you shouldn't feel shameful for being a white person. You shouldn't feel like you're inherently racist because you have white skin. This is a ridiculous idea. You shouldn't feel like if you are a good law-abiding citizen, the system is set up against you. The system is set up to actually help and benefit those who commit crimes. It's demoralizing to good people who actually just want to live normal lives and be contributing citizens to society. It is really, really demoralizing.
Evita, that was the whole Biden-Harris campaign for this past year. And I say Biden-Harris because he ran on the same thing before she picked up the mantle to do it. But that was it. It was complete division. They had no policies to run on. This is why they lost, basically. I want you to know that. They had no policies. They weren't preaching anything that anybody wanted while Donald Trump was. But it was Trump was a Nazi. You're Nazis for supporting him, trying to shame you out of supporting him. And that's all it was. It was, you're a bad person. Trump's a racist. Trump's going to kill democracy. That's what they were running on. They had nothing else. It was completely a divisive campaign, and that's what they do. And now it doesn't work anymore. And I'm so glad it didn't work.
I am too, Jim. And this is the playbook, right? This is what they do. First of all, they try to make you feel ashamed to vote for Trump. They make you feel like you're racist to vote for Trump. And that's why they weaponized COVID. That's why they weaponized the BLM rioting, because they wanted to create this idea that under Trump, look at all the chaos that's been caused by his presidency. We need somebody new. We need Joe Biden, who is, sleeping in his basement the entire campaign. And they did this because they wanted to create this negative narrative around Trump. But in reality, they were the ones creating all that chaos. They were the ones who were saying, oh, we have stay-at-home orders, but it's okay to go around blue cities and torch them to the ground. They are the ones who create this turmoil to then justify a change in political power, to say, oh, Donald Trump is the real problem here. And clearly that's not true.
No, it's clearly not true, because we have the last 4 years of evidence. You want to talk about chaos? It was a completely sane world during the first Trump term. And then during this last term, what do we have? We have wars breaking out. We have high inflation. We have rising crime. That's where the chaos was. And of course, the media turns a blind eye to that. So that's the way that is. All right. We got a lot coming up for you. We're going to treat this like an open line Friday in honor of the great Rush Limbaugh, who used to be in this time slot. Open line Friday. Give us a call, 844-484-3872, 844-4-the-USA. It's Jim and Avita filling in for Dan on the Dan Bongino Show.
Bongino.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-550-6486. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-550-6486. That's 800-550-6486. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
Dan Bongino.
Agree.
I think conservatives have it wrong.
Or disagree.
I couldn't agree with you more.
The conversation happens here.
I agree with you on Trump. I'm shaking my head. I'm one of your liberal Democratic listeners, and I don't get why any of this even matters.
Because your voice matters.
Everybody told him he couldn't do it, and then he did do it. That's what you got to do. You got to play hardball.
So I want to hear what people think and be able to talk about it.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-345-2789. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-345-2789. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-345-2789. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-345-2789. 800-345-2789 or biglou.com.
Looking for a cruise vacation? Cruise.com is offering its exclusive sale of the year to all listeners to this station. Every major cruise line, including Royal Caribbean, Carnival, Princess, MSC, and more, are on sale now. Call 1-800-507-9264 and book one of these deals while supplies last. Cruises start from as low as $39 per person per day. There isn't a better vacation value to places like Alaska, Europe, the Caribbean, South America, and more. Call one of the largest cruise specialists in the world at 1-800-507-9264. We'll find you a vacation that includes drinks, Wi-Fi, excursions, and more. Call 1-800-507-9264. That's 1-800-507-9264. Space is limited. Don't miss your opportunity to book the best deal of the year. That's 1-800-507-9264. Sponsored by Cruise.com.
If you are trying to quit drinking or doing too many drugs, listen to me. You don't know me and we'll never meet. I had a problem like you once. I drank and used to party a little too much till it got out of control and almost ruined my life. I realized I needed help to fix my problem before it totally destroyed me. If you've tried to fix your drinking and drug problem and you know you can't do it alone, you need to call the National Treatment Advisors. They'll immerse you into a 30-day program to replace your old habits with new habits and totally change your life. And if you have PPO private health insurance, the entire program may be covered. Fix your problem right now before it gets any worse. Get clean. Call now and learn more.
800-537-3908. 800-537-3908. 800-537-3908. That's 800-537-3908.
It's a pretty simple concept.
It is clear to me.
Let me make this clear.
Big events.
Your news and your opinions.
We're going to get out there and be heard.
St. Louis's place to talk.
Our voices are never heard in the media. We, the people, will always find a way.
And it's about time that we start putting up or shutting up.
Yeah, and you should come. You should listen to many voices.
1019 and 94.1.
Their phone lines have surely been burning up.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion. News Talk STL.
Turn it up to make sure your liberal neighbors finally hear some common sense. The Dan Bongino Show.
It's Jim and Davita filling in for Dan today. All right, we got a lot to get into here. There's senators that are going weak-kneed on Capitol Hill when it comes to Trump's nominations. Now, normally I'd say, sure, do your due diligence, do what you're supposed to do in the advise and consent role. But they only see, this is what gets me, Evita. Republicans only seem to do it for Democrats. They're not afraid to give Democrats and say, well, they won the election, so elections have consequences. Well, by God, we're going to give the guy his nominee. That doesn't happen in their own party's case. Do you have any theories on why that happens? Because for the life of me, I can't figure it out.
Well, let me just first say, Jim, that the number of Democrat senators who voted against Biden's cabinet nominees was zero.
Right.
So that we're even having this problem is an outrage when you look at our competition and the way that they come together, no matter who the nominee is for the Democrat president, and they vote for that person. Because they know the first 100 days are so crucial. And I don't know why that, actually I do know why that is, Jim. I'm going to say Trump is not a traditional Republican. Trump embodies the new right. Trump is a populist. So the Republicans that are in Congress are not necessarily new right Trumpian Republicans. They're uniparty Republicans. And so just like the Democrats, they are sort of appalled by Donald Trump. They agree with Hillary Clinton that his supporters are sort of deplorables. And so that is why and also, I mean, I think we have the question of money, which we're going to get into in the next segment with Dan. But Jim, I think that these people do not have the same priorities as Trump and the American people. They don't believe in the mandate. And basically they're just Democrats with a Republican skin suit on. And it's truly disgusting when you consider that no Democrat senators voted against Biden's cabinet nominees.
That's one of the Bongino golden rules is most Republicans on Capitol Hill or most Republicans in Congress are Democrats, but no Democrats are Republicans. And that's exactly the case. If you ever wanted a visual image of that golden rule right there, here it is, what we're witnessing right now on Capitol Hill. We're going to break it all down for you. Dan's got thoughts he said on the podcast yesterday about what's behind it all. Going to play that next coming up too. It's Jim and Evita filling in for Dan on the Dan Bongino Show.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-581-1414. That's 800-581-1414. Paid for by Wesley Financial Group.
Don't let cold season make you miserable. Try the quick, drug-free solution for nasal congestion, Navage. Navage uses gentle suction to flush out your sinuses with refreshing saline, helping you breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier all winter long. And here's even better news. Navage is now available at select warehouse clubs in a great new value pack. It's everything you need to start breathing better fast. Check out Navage at your local retailer today. Navage, Navage, breathe easy.
Dan Bongino.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. The jurors in Daniel Penny's fatal New York subway chokehold trial have told the judge they can't reach a unanimous verdict on the top charge of manslaughter. The judge has given an instruction urging them to make every possible effort to reach a verdict. The investigation into a mass gunman who stalked and killed Brian Thompson, the head of one of the largest U.S. health insurers, moves now into its third day. Investigators now believe the suspect may have traveled to New York last month on a bus that originated in Atlanta. America's job market rebounded in November, adding 227,000 workers. The unemployment rate ticked up from 4.1% in October to a still low 4.2%, according to the Labor Department. The Dow dropping 103 points, but the NASDAQ Composite up 121. This is SRN News.
Trump's victory is just the first battle. The deep state stranglehold on our economy took 50 years to build, and they won't let it go without fighting. The damage runs deeper than most Americans realize. A corrupt monetary system, a national debt exploding beyond control, a crumbling dollar. The deep state spent 50 years rigging our system. Now their economic time bomb is nearly unstoppable. Hi, this is Stephen K. Bennett. I'm here to remind you, you are not powerless. Throughout history, gold has been a safe haven from economic corruption. My trusted allies at Birch Gold Group know this. That's why they help Americans diversify their IRAs and 401ks into gold. To see how it works, get a free info kit on gold IRAs. Text the word PREPARE to 989898 right now. Don't let 50 years of globalist sabotage destroy your savings. Text the word PREPARE to the number 989898 and protect your hard-earned savings. Again, that's PREPARE to 989898 to get your free info kit from Birch Gold.
Message and data rates may apply.
Subscribe and watch your favorite News Talk STL shows. Mike Ferguson in the morning. The Vic Porcelli Show. Columbo and Company. Jones and Arps. Webcam streaming on Facebook, Twitter, Rumble. Subscribe and watch News Talk STL.
Tony Colombo here for the cleaning pros at Zero Res, the team we trust with keeping our home clean and healthy. And the folks at Zero Res know how important it is to you to have a clean, healthy home this holiday season. And that's why they have this great offer for you right now. Book a cleaning with Zero Res and mention the Colombo special, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129. Plus, you can take $75 off an air duct cleaning. Again, just mention the Colombo special when you call 314-474-2020 or when you book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
This holiday season, make your brand shine with Blue Sky Apparel and Promotions.
Need uniforms, signage, trophies, or promotional gear? We do it all. A woman-owned local business that turns your brand vision into reality. From clothing to plaques, we've got you covered.
Call 314-739-4531 or visit BlueSkyPromotion.com.
Blue Sky Apparel and Promotions. We're here to promote your brand.
With the average funeral bill over $9,000, are your loved ones prepared? Speak with Benjamin Schaefer at Senior Memorial. Contact Benjamin at memorialplans.com. Memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial, everlasting protection.
We are the Veterans Health Administration, and our hands provide life-changing care to over 9 million veterans across more than 1,200 facilities nationwide. Join hands with us to make an impact in your community. Learn more at vacareers.va.gov.
Danny Define here, host of the all-new show, The Next Gen, with me, Danny Define. We're going to cover all the hard-hitting topics on this show, from national headlines to things happening right here in St. Louis.
Next Gen with Danny Define, Sunday nights at 8.
Right here on News Talk STL.
News, analysis, opinion. News Talk STL.
Any questions? Call 844-4-the-USA to get the answers. 844-484-3872. The Dan Bongino Show.
This is Avita and Jim in for Dan Bongino. Trump has a mandate. The American people elected him to make dramatic reforms to the federal government. And to carry out the mandate, he needs his nominees to get confirmed. And we've already had roadblocks. We've already had problems along the way. Matt Gaetz specifically is somebody whose nomination was already derailed. And now we have the issue of Pete Hegseth and members of Congress, specifically members of the Senate, specifically Joni Ernst and Lindsey Graham, standing in the way. And it can be kind of confusing to all of us because we voted for Trump, we voted for his mandate, and now GOP senators are the ones making it impossible. So what's going on? Why would a Republican senator vote against the Republican president and the people that they represent who also voted to elect President Trump and his mandate? And Dan Bongino has some very insightful ideas of what is actually playing behind the scenes here. Take a listen.
There is a fan business lobby out there somewhere lobbying for some tax carve out or some other benefit or a government handout for people who produce fans. Go find it. I promise you it's there. You would be shocked how many people out there are trying to buy a piece of your caboose when you run for office. Carve off the skin, man. Sell it off one little chunk at a time. Now, what are they buying? So let's say you're running for office, you're running for Congress, like I was. They say, hey, why don't you meet this guy? And it'll always happen through some person you never even expected. They'll say, I need you to meet someone. And you think you're going there because it's some activist who believes in freedom or liberty or something. And long and short of it, what happens? You go to the Capitol Hill Club in D.C. Everybody, by the way, if you've run for office, you know this is what happens. You sit down there, everybody be, oh, let's have some food. And then it comes the pitch. Hey, we'll donate $20,000 or something to a PAC or to your campaign. But here's what we're going to need. And they say it in kind of like a shady fashion. How does that apply to Hegseth? Folks, the defense industry. Thank God we've got companies that produce weapons so we can kill bad guys. I'm not knocking defense industry people at all. Good for you. Our weapons are great. We kick ass. Fantastic. What I am knocking, however, is using that influence and that money and government contracts to lobby for endless wars. And there are people making money off fighting on every single piece of dry and wet land on planet Earth. Pete is not that guy. He's not an isolationist, but Pete is going to ask the critical question, why the hell are we doing that? I brought this up yesterday. But one thing, and I'm going to give you the numbers. I'm going to put freaking meat muscle on the bone right here so you see how much money's at stake. In case you think this is about principle, Pete had a beer one time. He's had some personal issues. He's a combat vet. These guys have been through a lot. I give them leeway. And you should too. They're putting their asses on the line so you don't have to. Guy came back and had some personal issues. It's like, yeah, no can you imagine what these people have seen? What's your excuse in Congress for having personal issues and having seen Jack at a cocktail party selling your ass? What's your freaking excuse, dumbass? I didn't hear about some personal issues he had. He break the law. Did he do anything? He got over it. He's fine. You guys, I see it out of the corner of my eye. No, I'm serious, man. What's your freaking excuse in Congress for being a loser? Probably going to some drug parties or something like that. What the hell's your issue? It's not just defense industry money. That's not it. It is it, but there's more. Pete is also going to be the guy, if we get him in there, who in conjunction with the commander-in-chief, Donald Trump, let's not forget that nothing's going to happen without Trump's approval. They are going to crush the woke enterprise, taking over our country and our military and getting our war fighters focused on LGBTQIA, BIOPC coloring books and paint by numbers things. Shoot down range and practice. We don't need them doing coloring books. That's why people are freaking out. Wait, Dan, you said this was about money. Now you're saying it's about woke. Yeah, I'm saying the same thing. Wokeism is a really, really expensive endeavor as well. And a lot of people are making a lot of money off it.
There's a reason why when Pete Hegseth was first nominated, Politico ran an article saying defense contractor lobbyists were freaking out. They said, who is this guy? As if that was a detractor for Pete Hegseth. Oh my goodness, the horror. The defense contracting lobbyists don't know who Pete Hegseth is. And to Dan's point, that's actually a really great thing. It's a really great thing that Pete is somebody with experience in combat. He's a decorated veteran. And that is where his priorities lie. That's what his experience is. Not with money making on war, not with merchants of death. I think I prefer Pete over somebody with experience in defense contracting and making money off of death and destruction abroad. What do you think, Jim?
I think his experience is actually like in war. Like he sees the results of the munitions that those defense contractors' products bring to human bodies. And I think that he's trying to make sure that that doesn't have to happen. And when it gets to what Dan's last point was about DEI, you have the DEI industry that thankfully is starting to fail right now, but that's like a $7.5 billion industry, and hopefully it's going by the wayside. And it's something that definitely doesn't belong in the military. When you join the military, one of the first things that happens is you go into boot camp, you go into basic training, and they break you down as an individual. You're not you anymore. They're trying to form you as a deadly, lethal fighting unit that can defeat the enemy. That's the purpose of it. Nobody cares if you're trans. Nobody cares what color you are. Your basic mission is to defeat the enemy, and that's what it's all supposed to be about. That's what Pete's trying to get out of there. And if we don't get, that's what they're afraid of. He's not going to concentrate on the money and where the money's going. This whole thing, the whole Doge thing, it all goes together. It's getting the money influence out and putting responsibility and attention back on these programs where it needs to be focused.
Jim, there's a real contrast between Pete Hegseth, who, like you said, is committed to de-wokifying the military. He wants us to be focused on lethality and unity. And then the woman who is at the center of derailing Pete's nomination, I'm talking about Senator Joni Ernst. And not a lot of us, if you're not from her state, knew a ton about her. You know, why would we? She's just another senator. She's not Chuck Schumer. She's not Mitch McConnell. Well, we did a lot of learning about Joni Ernst since we realized that she was at the heart of this movement to get rid of Pete, lobbying Trump to get rid of him, saying that she won't commit to voting for him. And we learned that, unlike Pete, Joni Ernst is somebody who was called for recruiting and maintaining transgender talent, whatever that means, in the military. Let's play that soundbite, Jim, if we have it.
So the example of transgender people serving in our military, we have transgender people serving in our military. They will bleed red just as the rest of us. But I also take a stance that we should not be integrating transgender people into certain situations where it does make, if you have a female barracks and you have a transgender woman who has not transitioned, we shouldn't make the rest of the unit uncomfortable about that setting. There are certain accommodations we can make for that transgender individual. But if they bring value to our unit, if they have specialties that we can use, especially if we want to maintain an all volunteer force, we want to bring that talent into our services. And I know that's controversial, but again, I'm looking at what's good for our nation. And believe me, when we're facing a recruiting challenge right now, if people are physically willing and able to serve our country, we want them to do so.
I think that is one of the most disqualifying statements for somebody to be Secretary of Defense that I've ever heard. And it makes sense, actually, Jim, that she voted to confirm Lloyd Austin, but now she has a problem with Pete Hegseth. This is a woman who is supporting mentally ill people who are much more expensive than they are helpful in the military. And I have a lot of sympathy for trans people, Jim, because to have this desire to chop off your body parts, I mean, that is That's distressing. That is tragic. But the military has a right to strict standards. You can get dismissed and not accepted for having asthma or colorblindness. And the amount of problems that having people who identify as the opposite sex having to pay for their hormones and even sometimes their surgeries is not worth it for a military focused on lethality, focused on unity, focused on just being an effective unit.
You know what else? You know who else is doesn't want Pete Hegseth to get the job? The Chinese don't want Pete Hegseth to get the job. The Russians don't want Pete Hegseth to get the job. The Iranians don't want Pete Hegseth to get the job, because if Pete Hegseth gets the job and accomplishes these things he says that he wants to do, then they're going to get this ideological mindset out of our military, and the leadership that we've seen the pictures of will not be in dresses anymore, telling us, leading these men in combat, pretending to be women. They won't be dressed in these dog outfits, which I don't even know what that's all about. That's really, really weird stuff. They'll actually be focused in getting people focused on the enemy and doing things to the enemy. They will be focused on defeating people who want to do us bad. Those are the people that Joni Ernst, if I'm going to say if, because she hasn't completely not committed to Pete Hegseth. She's just kind of playing it coy right now. But, you know, I think in the end, she'll probably come around. Here she is, just kind of waffling on it. You know, she doesn't, I'm not even sure what to think of this. She doesn't want to make a commitment, but she's trying to have it both ways. Listen to this.
Okay, it doesn't sound on your answer that you've gotten to a yes. If I'm wrong about that, correct me. And if that is the case, it sounds to me as if the hearing will be critical for his nomination. Am I right about that?
I think you are right. I think for a number of our senators, they want to make sure that any allegations have been cleared. And that's why we have to have a very thorough vetting process. And that's why I was happy to sit down with Pete and have that conversation with him yesterday. So again, all I will say at this time is that we did have a very thorough discussion over a number of those issues. And the vetting will continue, I am certain, through the next month or so until we approach that hearing date.
Okay, she started off that clip, Evita, by saying that Hemmer was right, that she was not a committed yes yet. But then she said, we had a thorough discussion about the issues. Well, if they had a thorough discussion, why are we still waffling about it? It's yes or no. If you had a thorough discussion, how is he not satisfying what you want?
So this is what politics is like. If she comes out, Jim, and says, absolutely not, no, I'm not going to nominate Pete, the rage I think that she will be subjected to from her own, from first of all, Republicans across the country, but even those in her own district, is going to be a big deal for her. So she doesn't want Pete. She also kind of wants, according to some reports, to be the nominee herself. She wants to be the Secretary of Defense. They're saying that. But she can't come out and fully say no because she's still playing politics. So it's very slimy. And I have to say, Jim, I was having a conversation with my husband about this when he first listened to that clip of her wanting to recruit transgender talent. And after COVID, there were a lot of young men who were discouraged from joining the military or were removed. Thousands were excommunicated essentially because they didn't take the COVID jab. Many more have been detracted from this push to recruit LGBTQ people instead of focusing on unity and lethality. And we have a recruiting crisis. You're going to see with Pete Hegseth, many competent, strong, young men say, I'll actually join. Now I want to be a part of this. And with Joni Ernst, Secretary of Defense, I don't see that happening from these clips, Jim. And I think that she's, maybe she's a good senator. Maybe she's good where she's at right now. But to be the Secretary of Defense and have those sound bites, transgender talent, that's what she's focused on. I think that's disqualifying.
As a representative of a state that went plus 13 for President Trump and wants his agenda pushed forward, I'm not sure that she's necessarily representing exactly their wishes. And she's been there 10 years. Maybe the swamp has gotten to her too. I'm going to, refrain from judging right now, but we're going to get into a little bit more about her and what she ran on in 2014 and talk about if she's still the same person or not. But you can give us a call if you want to get in and you want to talk about this. 844-484-3872, 844-4-the-USA. It's Jim and Avita filling in for Dan on the Dan Bongino Show.
Bongino.
Open an IRA in gold with Birch Gold and you get free silver shipped directly to your home. That's right. It's the most wonderful time of the year, the only time of the year that Birch Gold gives away a free 1-ounce silver eagle for every $5,000 purchased. And here's the best part. You don't have to pay a penny out of pocket. Simply convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold, and Birch Gold will send your free silver coins directly to your home. Now, you may be thinking, why do I need to diversify into gold? My guy's headed to D.C. Things are good. Well, here are the facts. An administration trying to reverse a $35 trillion national debt in just 4 years is like a field mouse trying to stop a freight train. We can't even afford to pay the interest on the debt, let alone the principal. Take action now. Text Bongino to 989898 before December 18th for a free info kit on gold and to claim your eligibility for free silver on qualifying purchases from Birch Gold. Do this before December 18th. Again, text Bongino to the number 989898 for peace of mind that lasts longer than 4 years. Message and data rates apply.
Dan Bongino.
Place to talk. The American people have further lost faith in our governmental institutions.
People can decide what they want and how they want to live.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion.
Looking for that perfect farm fresh flavor? For over 25 years, Anthony's Produce has been St. Peter's favorite harvest destination. Bundle up with our premium firewood delivery service and make your Thanksgiving gathering unforgettable with our gorgeous party platters of fresh fruits and veggies. Wow your guests with Anthony's stunning fruit bouquets and decadent chocolate-covered strawberries. Open year-round daily from 7 to 5, 701 Juggerman Road and at anthonysproduce.com. Anthony's Produce, bringing farm fresh goodness to your table since 1997.
Getting new flooring can be exciting, or it can be a hassle. To make sure you have a great experience, use Michael's Flooring, like I did. Hi, it's Susie Moore, and Michael's Flooring has become my go-to for quality, variety, and an all-around great experience. They've been locally owned and operated for more than 30 years. Carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, natural stone, luxury vinyl, it doesn't matter. Michael's Flooring is ready to help. 3 locations to pick from: St. Peter's, Darting Prairie, and Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloor.com. That's igotfloor.com.
Psst. Want to hear the best kept secret in St. Louis? Steph's Pizza. We're not afraid to compare squares. According to our customers, we have the best St. Louis style pizza anywhere, and we can't disagree. Dine in, pick up, or delivery at all 3 Steph's Pizza locations. In Lake St. Louis at 111 Potterfort Trail, St. Peter's on Juggerman, and in St. Charles on Zumbel. Check us out at Steph'sPizza.com. Steph's Pizza. We're not afraid to compare squares.
Be sure you make an appointment with the doctor, Dr. John's. Spice things up a little bit. Novelties, lingeries, videos, oils, lube, and more. If you're looking for something out of the ordinary, Dr. John's has you covered. Your one-stop shop destination to fulfill all your fantasy and add some zing to your love life. 3 locations in Fenton, Farmington, and Wood River. So be sure you make an appointment with the doctor, Dr. John's, and be sure you tell him News Talk STL sent you.
What's the best way to get rid of a timeshare that you don't want? Call the Timeshare Exit Hotline. We're a group of attorneys that help customers legally exit their timeshares. It's an easy process. We guarantee results or you pay nothing. Exit your timeshare today. Call now.
800-524-1641. 800-524-1641. That's 800-524-1641.
On the next Larry Connor's USA.
The latest on the assassination of a healthcare CEO in downtown New York and what's behind the story.
Larry Connor's USA.
Now, weeknights 6 until 8.
On News Talk STL.
News, analysis, opinion.
News Talk STL.
Concerned because when we let our guard down, bad things can happen. That's why I'm always prepared for emergencies, no matter how good and comfortable life gets. And the only brand that I rely on for my security and safety in an emergency is My Patriot Supply. Whether that be for their emergency food kits, solar power generators, or water treatment systems, they're the best in the business. And right now, you can get their 4-week emergency food kit for $50 off. Their 4-week emergency food kit includes some of my favorite meals like creamy Alfredo pasta and addicting snacks like sweet banana chips. With warehouses located across America, My Patriot Supply can send you a 4-week emergency food kit in as little as 1 day. Go to mypatriotsupply.com to get your 4-week emergency food kit now. And remember, now you can get it for $50 off. But don't wait. Emergencies can happen and do happen anytime. That's mypatriotsupply.com to get your 4-week emergency food kit now. mypatriotsupply.com.
You can handle the truth. The Dan Bongino Show.
Jim and Avita filling in for Dan today. 844-484-3872, 844 the USA, treating it like an open line Friday in the honor of the great Rush Limbaugh, who used to occupy this very time slot. Let's go to the phones right now. Let's go to George. George in Michigan. What's happening?
Hey, Jim, Avita, P1 listener, follow both the programs. Thanks for having me on. I'd like to talk about Joni Ernst. And a couple of points I'd like to just point out are look and see what happened to Liz Cheney. She got primaried and then she got smoked. And if Joni wants to go down that same road, you know, I don't recommend it for her. The people of Iowa are plus 13 for Trump. She was one of the last people to even endorse Trump this go around. She's also a member of the Doge, thing with Elon and Ramaswamy. So if she doesn't want to confirm Pete, maybe she's not part of that either. Just a couple of points that I wanted to make and hear your feedback on that.
I appreciate that, George. I think that it's kind of ironic that she's all in for Doge and wants to be on that, but she's not, vocally backing Pete.
You got to be part of the whole mandate. I think that's so true, Jim. And I like the comparison with Liz Cheney. I think that there's some truth to that. And I think if you're, for whatever reason, there are these people who think, being a strong leader means being adamantly pro-war anytime you get the opportunity to do that. And I think really being a strong leader is somebody who has respect for human life, somebody who wants us to be a safe a people who really thinks hard about whether they're going to put people in war. And I don't see that from her.
The best warriors are the ones who don't want to go into the fight, but will when they have to. That's an excellent point. All right, it's Jim and Avita in for Dan. We got a lot more coming up. Don't go away. It's the Dan Bongino Show.
Hey, it's Vic. Are you worried about rising taxes? Well, you're not alone. With government spending outpacing revenue, many Americans fear a tax hike is on the horizon. But here's the good news. You have options. Chris Cooper of Serenity Wealth Management specializes in tax-efficient strategies for income planning, legacy, and growth. Chris knows your money will go to one of three places: the government, healthcare, or your family and charities. Shouldn't your loved ones come first? Don't let Uncle Sam be your biggest beneficiary. Take control of your financial future today. Visit SerenityNowTax.com for your free copy of Chris's book, The New Holistic Retirement. Serenity Wealth Management, because you deserve peace of mind in retirement. Request your free book today at SerenityNowTax.com. That's SerenityNowTax.com to get your free copy of The New Holistic Retirement. That's SerenityNowTax.com. Serenity Now! With Chris Cooper.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors.
The Herzog Tomorrow Foundation provides private school tuition scholarships through Missouri's new Most Scholars program to cover the cost of accessible, high-quality schooling.
Hi, this is Myella Esser with the Herzog Tomorrow Foundation. Our private school tuition scholarships wouldn't be possible without the support of generous Missouri taxpayers. If you're a Missouri taxpayer interested in redirecting your tax dollars and sending them to Missouri students in need of a better education, please contact me at herzogmostscholars.org.
Better education for students creates a better tomorrow for all. Learn how you can help provide a better education for Missouri students at herzogmostscholars.org. That's herzogmostscholars.org. Also, sign up for The Lion, an initiative of the Herzog Foundation that carries articles covering a wide range of issues facing American families and culture. herzogfoundation.com. That's herzogfoundation.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. Cold weather and lake effect snow continues while residents from the Ohio